Now that all the important people are here, let's get down to business. Akavi, what have you got?
Based on intelligence provided by Mandalore, I was able to narrow my search and scout potential suppliers to Hedda Cole and her group, the Hidden Chain. Hedda's targets, Outer Rim colonies and transports on the Rim of Trade route, point to powerful trade houses shutting down their competition with her guns. Those will likely be our suppliers. I have advised Jakaya Ordo, and he is marshalling Mandalore's fleet as a precaution. You'll find everything I uncovered in my report.
Okay, we'll get our analysts on that. Good work.
Is there anything else?
We have a message from the Imperial Reclamation Service. An associate of Darth Rivik's may have found a lead on the relic Malgus stole on Dantooine.
Colonel Bardengola at your service. I've been asked to relay a high-priority message concerning records my team discovered during a recent assignment, which I'm also forwarding to you. These files are old, very old. They almost went straight to central processing, but Darth Rivix has insisted that I personally comb through any new finds. I uncovered a cargo manifest that mentions a containment apparatus exactly like the one you described in your Dantooine Enclave report. Regrettably, many of the manifest details are illegible. We couldn't identify the relic Malgus stole, but we did learn that it belonged to a Sith named Darth Null. It isn't much, but I do hope this information can be of use.
If the files from Colonel Gola are any indication, our allies in the Empire believe this lead could be the key to locating Darth Malgus. Darth Rivix reports that he's identified one of Null's holdings. Darth Krovos has deployed her own forces to investigate it.
I don't like how many decisions are being made without consulting us.
I will relay your concerns to Darth Rivix. I'm sure he will do whatever he can to remedy them. In the meantime, there is something we can investigate ourselves.
What am I seeing?
This is where Darth Null's relic was first discovered.
There are not many who know this planet. It is in a dark region of wild space, a dangerous, untamed world. If your intention is to investigate the source of this relic, you must send someone strong to this place. Someone who knows this region of the galaxy. I suggest Arkin.
I won't speak for my colleagues in the Empire, but I can't imagine they will be thrilled at the idea of the former Eternal Emperor handling this.
A valid concern, but ultimately the decision is yours, Commander.
Sana Ray is right. Arkin is the best choice for this mission. We'll deal with any consequences later.
Arkin should be adequately prepared. I will speak with him and share everything I know about his destination.
That would be appreciated.
Then it sounds like we all have our marching orders. Until next time.
You must be at Kavi Spa.
That's correct. I understand you recommended me for this mission. I appreciate the chance to help with Mandalore's hunt.
We needed someone on the ground familiar with Mandalorian ways.
You were right to send me. Those who supply Hedda Cole are paranoid and prone to disappear. It is only because I am Mandalorian that I got as close as I did. The suppliers are very much afraid of Hedda's wrath should they disappoint her, or worse, reveal any of her secrets. She's being very careful. Her ruthless reputation and a seemingly endless supply of credits from her raids means she can keep her secrets. Her suspected suppliers in my report are scattered across the galaxy. We find them, we hurt her.
This sounds promising. You have given us the advantage.
Praise isn't necessary. It was my duty. Until Mandalore herself calls on me to strike her enemies down, I will continue this work. But I should get back to helping your analysts go through my report.
Find her weakness, Akavi. That is the only thing that matters.
Interesting, Dr. Ball. By the way, random factoid of the day. Anybody want to guess how many pluses to story this game has gotten for voice acting? Let's throw out a guess. And good morning, everyone. What do we got? Who's here this morning? Blake Duvall, Shone, Orpano, good to see you. Hazardous, Terra, Rama, Caden Knight, Melkor, Zach Taft, Workcore, Mike Cremano, of course, and thing to you. 5 minutes. These are all very good guesses. 68. I was actually doing some of the audit this morning while getting ready for stream. And I noticed that as I was going through. And as usual, I stopped and I was like, hang on a second. No, that tracks. One of the rules, one of the ideologies of the review system is that if something does something repeatedly, that's a risk, right? Because the more they do something, the more chances for negatives, but also the more chances for positives. It's why a long game tends to be riskier, but has a chance to score. Witcher 3 is the perfect example. This Witcher 3 is a fairly long game, but because they nailed it so consistently, it had so many more opportunities for positives. Tor's the same way, specifically with regards to its voice acting. The voice acting has been burgeoning the game since vanilla. It was literally one of its selling features. So that makes sense to me. And no, that's not for individual. I think there's a few for individual voice actors, but most of them are more for like a planet, you know, all the dialogue on a planet, or like all the dialogue in a specific character, or whatever. You get the idea. So having this level and quality of voice acting, yeah. So that apparently is it, because that's Legacy of the Sith right there. If I'd known, I would have just finished it last night, but whatever. I had to do the audit anyways. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, and then I can send out the announcement, and we can start the last expansion. So, any requests for music while I do this real quick? This shouldn't take me long. This here. This here. Let's see what our bronze number is for Onslaught. The Star Wars theme. You know what? You got it. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I need this one. There we go. Watch, even this is going to copy around me. What do you want to bet? Okay, so. Very good, Flag End. Yes, this is from TIE Fighter. Hey, Trihexia. Whoops, I muted myself in the middle. Just for that 30 donuts, Flag End. Because I secretly hate you, Rama. Just with every... So this is actually funny. Hut Cartel was about 11... Well, it was about 12 hours. Revan Expansion was about 11. Kotfi was about 19. Kotit was about 15. Onslaught is 10. 10 hours. Alpha 1. Mission objectives complete. Good work, Alpha 1. Primary objectives. Mission objectives complete. Good job, Alpha 1. Go ahead and fly home. We are on the final expansion, Trihexia. You know what's really sad? TIE Fighter didn't review particularly well, but I still enjoyed playing it. It's one of those things, right? Like, how many other games are there that are like TIE Fighter? I'm just going to spoil this for you. There are none. There's only one TIE fighter. There are a few Star Wars-based flight sims, but none of them are TIE fighter. None of them have that uniqueness. It's something I've talked about a lot. The game may not score very well, but unique games tend to stick out in people's memories, and I'm no exception to that. We talked about that during Okami. No, Django, we've got one more expansion. We are getting there, though. We might finish the game today. The good news is, since I've been auditing as we go, there will be no big audit once we finish. All I'll have to do is tally everything up. I know, right, Plugin? I'll be honest, I was thinking about this last night. I mentioned how just yesterday is the first time I've actually finally felt tired of this game. I don't actually think it's the game, believe it or not. I think it's just because I'm exhausted after the visit over the weekend. So I'm just exhausted in general, right? No Tor dreams, believe it or not. Although I have had slightly different dreams, which I'm not going to bore you with. Okay, you're going to interpret that the wrong way if I don't explain. So, I've been thinking about boss design, of all things, a lot lately. And so, I was thinking in my head, in my dreams, I was like, go ahead and make fun. I was up in like a, you know how you've got, what do they call them? Like you go to a convention and then you go to rooms where someone helps to explain a topic. What are those called? Because I can't think of the term right now. Like it's usually a nice big room. They've laid it out for this. They've usually got some kind of projector. There's a spot up there, occasionally with some props, a bunch of chairs laid out. I can't think of the damn name. Panel, thank you, that's what I was thinking of. So I was doing a panel on MMO boss design for all of you guys. And so I'm up there actually explaining some of the bosses from like WoW Vanilla versus bosses from like WoW Kata and showing the difference and distinction in design. And in the middle of it, a thought just sort of randomly occurred to me of, well, where do we define the ceiling in WoW bosses? Because WoW bosses are really, really good. They're some of the best in the industry. They are the best in the industry. So, in the middle of the night, I woke up and asked Mr. Red to actually tally up some pluses we've already given to FF14 to establish a little bit of precedence there. But those are the kind of dreams I've been having. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of it. It's just been weird. There we go. Interesting. What's probably going to happen, Blade Taval, is if there's ever a patch stream of Tor, we'll bake in the Republic side of Onslaught there. I've already thought about that. Is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, so can I get a drum roll, please, for Onslaught's bronze number? Now, try to be shocked, but while Onslaught was pretty positive on the story axis, it was pretty negative on the gameplay axis. I know, shocking. Shocking to hear that from Tor. So that does mean Onslaught's bronze number is negative 0.57. Let's move on to Legacy. You don't know what a bronze number is? Alright, I need everyone to bury Melkor Blade in explanations. Oh, and donuts. Mission time. Alright, someone buried Doralis in donuts too. Just donuts. So I've always liked donuts, but the donuts thing really goes back to a wonderful woman named Platy. And she had this thing where she liked to give out donuts, metaphorically, obviously, give out donuts in order to... Oh, that's a really stupid sentence. Sorry. I get some really dumb comments on my show. That just stalled me for a second. She used to fake give out donuts in chat, and it just sort of became a thing. Correct, Melkor Blade. Bronze is per class and per, like, per expansion. Silver was, like, the vanilla game, and then, obviously, gold will be, you know, the whole game, which we'll work on, hopefully today. Now, how many of you here... I just put the bot up! Like 5 seconds ago. And by 5 seconds ago, I mean 19 minutes ago. Actually, an hour and 19 minutes ago. God damn it. Thank you, Jay Palmer. Sending out announcements. Announcements. So I have to do these manually in 3 separate things, so... Ladies and gentlemen! Yeah, Donut Man ate too many... excuse me. Question Man ate too many donuts. That's what that is. Donut Man. That's it. That's it. We have Donut Man. That's where all the donuts are coming from. That's his superpower. Alright, let's wipe the board here. How many of you were here earlier this year for the launch of Legacy of the Sith? Real question. I'm not trying to lead into anything. This is actually important. Oh yeah, by the way, Legacy of the Sith came out this year. It was actually one of the contributing factors for me shoving Tor up on the priority list. So, for those of you who were here for this... No, playing Tor. Who of you were playing Tor when Legacy of the Sith went live? What I want to know is how bad was the launch? The more specifics you can give me, the better. Because we actually have precedents for this. We call them bad launch negatives. And we've given several... We've actually given Tor some, for Tor Vanilla, for that matter. And I only know, from a third-person perspective, how bad Legacy of the Sith's launch was. It's probably a bare minimum of 1 negative, but I need... Like I said, I want some specifics, so we can decide how many negatives it is. And then we'll die! Yeah, Endwalker got some negatives for that, too. Several WoW expansions will get those negatives, too. Oh my god. That's already wonderful, Orcano. Yeah, Raban EX, yep. I'm going to read some of these out loud for those of you who don't read the chat. So the new Flashpoint had you fall through the map during a mid-boss fight. Which, yeah. And the end boss, you had to hide around a rock and set your comp to tank because the mechanics killed you instantly. Then there was new UI changes that lagged the UI so much and made other parts broken. Or Oculus says it was buggier than ever. I know it was just glutted with bugs. The new UI was awful, lackluster, lacking in content, horrible balancing. Where's the channel? There it is. Couldn't zoom anywhere else other than the chest. That sounds deliberate. I've been thinking that this whole time, Blade Jamal, because Legacy's patch was awful from every account I've heard. Again, it was what made me shove the game up the list so that we didn't have to deal with this crap. And, excuse me. Yeah, I have theorized that several of the bugs we've had this entire time have specifically been because of this year's patches. So I'm looking for something specifically while I glance here. Yeah, the Legacy of the Sith. Being a very buggy, broken launch. I mean, that feels appropriate, right? You know, I actually noticed that, Orcano. I just assumed it was always that way. Like, the way this works is just... Yeah, it's... So, this is the other thing, too. It's hard to describe, but just scrolling through it is wrong. Did WoW ever have a smooth launch for an expansion? Actually, yes. Pandaria and onwards have had smooth launches. They haven't had a bad launch in a while. Where is it? So I'm looking for something specific. And it's taking longer than I thought it would. I give up. I can't find it. It's taking too long. I'd have to go manually. Whatever. It's only 29 pages, Django. I think that's shorter than the other one. Where's our icons? Where am I seeing these, Orcano? one of my viewers was actually playing Legacy of the Sith at launch and gave me a list of problems that it was going through at the time. Yeah, the rejuggling of the abilities is something we've actually already commented on. Oh, these stupid things? Can I get rid of this? Like, I'm done. I've been done. No, whatever. Alright, whatever. Enough TIE Fighter music. Nobody likes TIE Fighter. Nobody likes TIE Fighter. Except for me. Let's do it. Oh, wait, no. We haven't actually decided yet. Let me look up one last thing. Give me a second. Someone spell Raban for me really quick. Never mind, I found it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Now, see, what I'm trying to think of is if I could think of a worse MMO expansion launch than that. I think I can. I think I can think of one. Yeah, so let's go ahead and give this 2 negatives. Let's call it good. At 2 negatives for launch for Legacy. Great way to start the expansion. I was actually thinking of Lich King, which is the worst launch I've ever experienced, by the way, Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, if you want to argue for 3, I'm listening, Arcano. During the Wrath of the Lich King's launch, micro zones wouldn't load, but only some of them. Let me try to explain what I mean by that. So Zangarmarsh is a zone, right? But in terms of coding, that zone is on a specific server cluster. Now that cluster, for BC in this case, includes all the Draenei zones, all the Blood Elf zones, and Outland, right? All 3 of those are actually on the same cluster. Make sense? So, all of this is on the same cluster, but then it breaks its loading out into zones and then micro zones. And you know what I mean by that, right? Like, as you're roaming through the zone, you get into little things. There's little pop-ups saying, this is the such and such part. So only certain micro zones were actually loading. What would happen is if you hit the wrong micro zone, you would get booted out to log in. And you couldn't log in on that character because they were still logged in, hovering there, trapped in the microzone. So what would happen is, let's say I have 10 characters, just for the sake of argument. So I could log on, let's say all 10 of them are in Shatrith. If one of them decided to leave the zone and hit that line of non-loading, I could walk out on my second character and see myself in-game, online, just standing there at the zone line, stalled. And so it became this whole thing of trying to identify the microzones that were working in order to be able to do anything. We actually ended up just kind of chatting with each other and sharing stories about how hilariously broken it was because you couldn't do anything. Oh, by the way, there were no monsters at all. Something wasn't polling the mob database properly. I remember it distinctly because I had a character who had been doing Serpent Shrine. So I was hovering over Serpent Shrine on my flying mount, just, you know, over that lake, if you can picture it over in Zangarmarsh. So I'm just hovering there, and I knew that that was a safe login zone. And so I was like, I was sitting there trying to help other players in the guild, because at the time we had a pretty active guild, who would log in, and I'd reach out to them and be like, all right, okay, here, don't move. Don't move. If you're reading this message, stay put, and trying to prevent people from losing characters. Well, if you're paying attention, all I've been talking about are BC zones, J. Palmer. Yeah. Anyways. In terms of difficulty, how does it compare to Fallout 2? I would say Arcanum is quite a bit more difficult than Fallout 2 for me personally. But that's because, you know, Arcanum is brutal unless you break it, in which case it's a lot easier. Fallout 2, by contrast, is a lot, honestly, better designed, to be perfectly blunt, from a gameplay perspective. And so there's more options and more variety, and you don't fight, you know, a death doom that can absolutely kill you at level 2. But my big advice, by the way, go tech. Guns are OP. Axes. There's this one really good flame axe. It's OP. If you're trying to find Navarro, well, then it sucks to be you. Anyways, that's what I think of when I think of a triple negative launch. And that's why I say it's only 2 negatives. Now, Orcano does mention an interesting point. So rather than giving 3 negatives to the launch, let's do this. Let's give a negative for the fact that they still haven't fixed some of this crap. And then we'll give a 4th negative. No, I'm serious. They have fixed several things, and I actually know that. Because I had people pop in to make sure the game was playable. Because I was staring at the possibility of actually pulling the plug on the Tor run. Of course they fixed the cartel market. Oh my god. Anyways, what do I put this under? This is such a generic negative. I'm trying to think of what to put this under. Let's put this under that. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Okay. So, let's start Legacy, shall we? Ready. I'm ready. I don't know what kind of song I need to play, but I got this. What? Yeah, I got new mail. Oh, hey, it's the lady from the screen, which I still haven't identified.
Focus, Sahar.
She's apparently a Jedi.
I did it! Did you see? Wow.
I know it is difficult to accept. But the Force has chosen you.
Tour cinematics continue to be better than the movies.
Destroy this machine and all records of it.
Yes, Master Orr.
Malgus. Traitor. Go, now!
I heard about that one, Oculus.
Too late, Malgus. Focus, Zahar.
I did it! Did you see? Wow.
Will you be taking both children?
No. The brother shows little connection with the Force. Zahar, the Force has chosen you.
Remember, Jedi like to grab children.
Past, Padawan.
You can't take her!
Your pain. Your fear. This is how the Sith and Jedi maintain control. Revealing the ways of the Force to some. And keeping it from others.
Zahar! Don't listen to him!
How many were left behind? So that the Jedi could play God.
He's got a point.
Well done, young one. Now give it to me.
You could have saved my brother.
What?
Was I chosen by the Force? Or you?
Now's not the time.
Do you know what it is your master just destroyed?
Zahar, listen to me.
A machine built to find those the Jedi didn't deem worthy.
Silence! Give it to me. Now, Padawan!
It's not too late. Give me the plans.
No!
We can still find your brother.
I've only ever protected you. You must trust me.
Very well.
Zahar, I'm sorry.
All your life you've been in a cage, Padawan. When you're ready, break free.
I've never seen that before. That's the first one I've never seen. No, that was good. That was good. And not just because Malgus is totally right. The fate of the galaxy balances on a razor's edge. The Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic, still consumed by the flames of war, viciously compete for any advantage that can secure victory. With vital resources in short supply, the Empire turns its gaze to Manan, an ocean planet overflowing with indispensable but rare medical substance known as Kolto. Manan's reclusive people, the Selkath, control the flow of Kolto with an uncharitable grasp. Determined to seize all Kolto for themselves, the Empire's forces prepare for invasion.
Raven to nest! Raven to nest! I've got 2 Republic fighters on my tail. I can't shake them. Requesting backup.
Oh, I gave up yesterday, my kimono. I have no idea.
This is Major Anri of Raven Squad, still under fire. Come on, I need help down here. Blast! Can anyone read me?
I read you, Major. Loud and clear.
I noticed
Really appreciate your sense of timing, Commander. Wasn't too sure I'd get out of that one.
What's going on? Where did those Republic fighters come from?
See that dreadnought? Meet me there. We'll get you all caught up.
I've noticed they're leaning on slow-mo a lot less, which is good. Probably one of my only real complaints about the vanilla cinematics was the overemphasis on slow-mo. Otherwise, very good stuff.
How's it going, my lord?
Get these weapons secure, now! Everyone's trapped down there. Cord had better have a hell of a plan.
I got a better question. Why were we flying around to provide support to her? What were we doing on Manan?
We need everyone ready to move.
Darth Noroc's down
No
there.
exceptions.
He'll handle the Republic.
Hope you're right.
We've got 3 squads cleared and ready. Just need the go-ahead from Major Anri.
You're good to go.
I mean, honestly, I had the same complaint with the beginning of Onslaught, too. We just happened to be
I need
participating
the rest of
in
them
a
ready
trap.
to go in 10, Captain.
And
Understood?
a fighter.
Right away, Major.
Welcome aboard the Executioner, Commander. Wish I could have organized a welcome party, but we need your help straight away.
You said you would explain what's happening here, Major.
Straight to business then. Good. Colonel Cord was running a pretty tight ship with this Kolto operation. We dropped mining platforms right on the water. Real state-of-the-art stuff. Got everything up and running quick. Harvesting, refining, shipping. We were up to our necks in Kolto. The Selkath didn't even know what hit him. Until the Republic got a whiff of what was going on.
Who is this Colonel Cord you spoke of?
My new commanding officer. Raven Squad was transferred to Cord's regiment not long before he kicked things off on Manan. Once the Republic brought the big guns, the locals started to put up a fight. Some of the Selkath even got organized enough to take over our Kolto refining station. That station was our base of operations, and now our people are stuck inside, including Colonel Cord. All our platforms are cut off from each other. Whole thing's a mess. If we want this operation back on track, first thing to do is kick the Selkath off our base, which I can't do alone. Could really use your help down there.
It sounds like we don't have a second to waste. I'm ready when you are.
Fantastic. Knew I could count on you. I've already given the order to ready as many troops on board as we can. Just need to get them down to the surface and...
Major Henry,
The first dropship we sent down, it was completely destroyed as soon as it entered Manan's airspace. Our scanners show it was Republic anti-aircraft weapons.
Are the enormous guns mounted on this eyesore just for show? If you've got their weapons in your sights, take them out.
We can't. Once we started the targeting sequence, their weapons disappeared from our instruments altogether.
How can that be?
Damn it! Don't know what the Republic's playing at, but I'm not sending any more soldiers down until we find out. As long as those Republic dogs are helping the Selkath, our efforts on Manan are dead in the water, so to speak.
That's not an option. And there are other ways to solve this problem.
All right. What are you thinking?
You and I will retake your base. The Republic's weapons won't lock onto a small shuttle. You were able to escape Manan relatively unscathed.
Solid point. And once we take the Republic's fancy weapons out of the equation, we'll clear the way for reinforcements. You heard the plan, Vondrel? Hold down the fort up here. We'll signal when it's safe to deploy everyone else. It's great to have your help again. Now, let's show these kelp lovers what we're made of, yeah?
You want my summary, Trihexia. 1+ to story, 1+ to gameplay. 5 negatives to story, and 2 negatives to gameplay.
Aye, aye.
That's a good question, Oculus, but as usual, I have no idea. I don't know anything that's going on at this point. I'm so far off the map. I know there's Manan, and I know there's a dungeon, and that's actually it. Like, that's the end. There's a raid, which we're not doing, of course. Wait. Hear me out. I've got this great idea. As we're going through Manan, all of a sudden someone bursts out of a tank, and we're like, who's that? And they stand up, and it's Django Fett. His name is Django, not Django.
What happened here? How did the Empire lose control?
Like I said, everything was going to plan. Better than that, really. We were unstoppable. We had an ion cannon that could stop entire fleets in their tracks. Anyone who thought they could take a run at us got a personal demonstration. But the Republic had to go and stick their noses where they don't belong. Things took a turn when they helped the Selkath blow up our cannon.
You said it, buddy.
Close one there.
Oh, that's it. Okay, so Django jumps out, and he's like, behold! And then as he jumps out, we're like, ah. And even though he's, like, completely out of the tank, just wandering around in his skivvies, he's a super hard raid boss, right? But then, like, as we're barely struggling against him, if we're Republic, all of a sudden Obi-Wan jumps down, and it's like, hello there. But if we're for Imperial, Darth Vader himself shows up and is like... And both of them are like, we will aid you against Django Fett. And Django starts jetpacking around, you know.
She's alive. Let's go, soldier.
I'll be fine. Just need a second to catch my breath. But you two don't have time to stop. The Selkath are planting explosives all around the base.
We'll take care of them.
And there are more wounded troops. Please, help them.
And then Baby Yoda shows up. And goes, and eats some eggs. Like you do. Thank you for being part of the show, Ryman. I have put that towards KOTOR 2. Ironically, I suppose. Do you just want me to kill that? You just want to kill these, don't you? Maybe I don't have to kill all them? And then Luke just shows up out of nowhere. Ironically, the name of this song is just Shinra Core. Excuse me. Yeah, I think it does. No. Alright, whatever. And then, Jay Palmer. Princess Leia shows up in her bikini, because of course. And in the middle of the fight, the bikini just goes, whoosh, it just flies off. Nobody notices, of course. She's just fighting nude.
Caused all of this.
Hey, it was a really powerful gun. When it blew up, the ion explosion knocked out everything. Comms, weapons, vehicles, you name it, it went dark.
I told you the Empire wasn't welcome here. We give you every chance to leave. Now you give us no choice. Exactly.
I will never give up our position on Manan, no matter how many chances you give us. The Empire needs more Koto than your tight-fisted government is willing to sell.
You poisoned our home with your loathsome greed. We'll purge every last trace of your presence from Manan's waters.
Hey, shark bait! Over here!
You must know that the Empire will be victorious. Here's your chance to join the winning side.
I'm tired of Imperial arrogance. I will entertain it no longer. Yeah, then Grievous shows up. I don't know, who else is a popular Star Wars character? Help me out here. Oh, I've got it. As they're fighting, Mace Windu shows up. And he... No, hang on. Snoke shows up. Bear with me. So Snoke shows up, right? He's like, oh, I will show you the incredible power of... And he's and like this purple lightsaber comes out of his mouth. And then his head gets sliced right off. And Mace Windu's just standing there, posed, with a robotic arm. This party's over.
On your feet! I want this place back in working order immediately. Taurus, get this display back online. Dar, re-establish long-range communications now! We've been cut off from the other platforms for too long.
Colonel Cord, sir, this is...
I know who this is, Major. Where are the reinforcements I asked for?
You're looking at him, buddy.
I've come to help you retake control. You won't need anyone else but me.
I know you're expecting a few more people, but that plan hit a bit of a snag.
A few more people? I asked you for an army, Major.
And if I bring you that army now, they're as good as dead. The Republic shot down our first transport. They've got some kind of stealth weapon system. It went dark on the Executioner scanners almost as soon as it showed up.
Then we need to eliminate those guns. I want my soldiers down on the surface in one piece. The second our scanning instruments are functional again, we shall locate the Republic's weapons. Readings down here will be more accurate than on the Executioner.
The Selkath did a real number on this place. With their home advantage and the Republic backing them up, they'll retake this position in no time.
What are you suggesting we do?
Colonel Cord finds the Republic's guns, we fix our defenses.
There are plenty around this platform, but they were destroyed or disabled by the ion blast the Selkath triggered. You'll have to repair all the defenses manually.
Sounds easy enough, especially for the two of us. I'm sure Darth Noroc will be pleased at how well we're handling this, sir.
Who is Darth Noroc?
Lord Valron's new right hand in logistics. Very important. Colonel Cord manages the Kolto operation, but this whole thing is under Darth Noroc's jurisdiction. He gets final say on everything. Be nice if we could update him before we set off, sir.
I tried to contact him, but with everything that's happened, I'm sure he's on the move. Don't get your hopes up.
Good. Your endless missteps are becoming a considerable source of irritation.
I know things are grim, my lord. You have my apologies, but I, and my associates, are prepared to make things right.
See that you do.
Darth Noroc has been briefed, and we all have our assignments. I want this entire operation back in working order. People will die without this Kolto.
And yeah, by the way, the Imperial we're talking to is the voice actor of Tidus. He's done a lot of other stuff too, obviously, but I want you to picture that specific role. Because it's hilarious.
If you want my help, I want to hear from someone with actual power first, not a peon.
Sir, the Selkath are launching another attack. They've breached the lower levels.
If those Selkath take this platform again, I'm afraid no one will be speaking to Darth Noroc.
Leave the Selkath to us. We'll return once the defenses are repaired.
He also voices Ratchet
you both.
in Ratchet
Hopefully
Clank.
you won't need it.
Like I said, he voices a few trillion things. But Tidus, just picture it. No, yeah, James Arnold Taylor's pretty cool. You know, that's a good question, Django. I'm not sure. I would guess not, honestly.
Just rewired the shields in this quadrant to triple their integrity. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself.
You know, it's funny, Casuals, I think most of the actors are still active. Although, if we're gonna do that, we need to do that sooner rather than later. So what you're saying is I need to take over the world. Oh, so it's got American education, Ickenclaw. Gotcha. I don't know what music to use for this. I'll just use the water playlist. It's Manan. It's Manan. It's random. What's funny is it was pretty early in Tara Strong's overall career, too. Nowadays, she's, you know, one of the bigger names in voice acting, but back then... And yeah, James Arnold Taylor went on to do a bajillion things.
Recharged, rebooted, and reinforced. Let's see the Selkath try and break these again.
No, yeah, I really debated it for a long time, Orkana, but I decided to let Valron live. Technically, no. FF14 received a total of 4 negatives for launch across various expansions. But that was spread out. So this is the first individual thing that's gotten more than 1 negative for launch, yes. Wait, no, that's not true. I think Cyberpunk got more than 1 negative, too. Actually, I think there's another one, too. Help me out! What's her... I have no idea. I have no idea. There's probably another game that's got negatives for launch. Wait.
Selkath are everywhere. It's like a bad crec beetle infestation.
I gotta check this. Yeah, Joe DiMaggio finally is stepping down, which I don't actually blame him. D3 is going to get 2. However, the Real Money Auction House is going to get 3. So technically D3 will be getting 5. Here we go. Sorry, give me a second. So, looks like we gave... We gave Cyberpunk a negative. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines technically got one. Looks like that's it, actually. Yeah, so we don't give that out very often. Well, the problem with the Real Money Auction House was how much it affected every other aspect of gameplay. Dude, whoever that guy is, just tell him to go screw himself, Mr. Red. Funny fact, Miss Tread, I was going to share this live. So I was challenging myself to think of a dungeon boss that was as good as FF14's raid bosses. I came up with a few. It was an interesting thought exercise. Because, you know, you've given me the 3... There's only 3 bosses we've ever given 3 positives for in the MMO-verse. All 3 from FF14. And I was thinking, obviously there's going to be several raid bosses in WoW that are triple positive raid bosses. Duh. But I was thinking, are there any dungeon ones? And it took a while to get to that, because you don't see really good dungeon bosses until we get to about Wrath, and then it just kind of keeps going better and better, and it's okay.
Close one there.
We'll debate it as we go, of course, but the first absolutely no really triple positive dungeon boss fight is actually from Legion. The Vault of the Wardens, specifically.
Selkath are dug in deep. Let's remind them who they're dealing with.
The final boss of that dungeon is going to be a 3 positive boss. Well, I don't know if I can change your mind on that one, Psychotic, but my entire raid team quit over the heroic dungeons in Kata. Now, that's a bit of a misleading statement, because what actually was several concurrent changes that they put in at the launch of Kata. For example, some of you may remember that at the beginning of Kata was when they tried that experiment with making it so that tanks didn't really generate a lot of aggro. What I mean by that is they were experimenting... wait, it was J. Palmer? Why? Anyways, they were experimenting with trying to make tank gameplay focused on generating threat instead of positioning, control, and survivability. That experiment failed miserably, and it made tanking terrible. Then you add in they're experimenting with healer mana.
Online, we restore communications, at least at short range. We'll be able to check in with each other if we get separated.
They also then started experimenting with healer mana and mana regen, as well as efficiency in casters, to try and figure out, you know, how to make that work. So that also sucked and failed, and they undid that change too. So between making healing worse just across the board and making tanking worse across the board, we weren't really enjoying those dungeons. So I was the only one who didn't quit Kata.
Good news, sir. We reactivated the defense systems. Making our way back to your position now.
Excellent work, but unfortunately the job isn't over yet.
What are you talking about?
As Major Anri so eloquently reminded me, the Selkath have their home advantage of infiltrating underwater targets without impediment. As long as the Selkath can so easily enter the platform sublevels, our surface defenses won't be enough to repel them, as demonstrated by this second assault. The order just came down from Darth Noroc. You're to deploy underwater defenses before you return. We have an assortment of mines that should do the trick.
This was Darth Noroc's idea. Wasn't he the one who said the mines were a waste of time in the first place?
I sincerely hope that you're not questioning the word of a Sith, Major. I know you are smarter than that.
What are we, the Sith? Alright.
Well, if Darth Noroc wants mines, then I guess we better get him some.
Do you...
And where are we supposed to get these mines? Cord wasn't exactly clear about that.
Come on. There's a submersible droid in our mining facility that should make this easier for us. Just need to get to it.
I know, I have to keep remembering we're just some random smuggler. Ugh.
Incoming!
You know what's funny is I don't think we're ever going to get away
Still
from
can't believe
that.
Colonel Cord got Noroc to cave on these mines. Guess Noroc finally realized how many people would die without them. He always struck me as an ends justifies the means kind of Sith. But maybe there's an old softie hiding under that creepy armor.
Henri, you're not this stupid. Don't do that.
Moving out.
Well, we get to choose Django. So now we're playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So what that means is we could be a smuggler here and actually be supporting the Sith Empire. But yes, there are very, very, very few changes based on your class. It's why, in general, you don't see any variance. Like, I've already seen a dozen cutscenes in the last 2 days where it's like, why are we letting this happen? Or why aren't we doing this about this? And it's because the cutscene has to take into account that we're a smuggler, a trooper, a Sith Inquisitor, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're everything, right? So, because we're everything, we do nothing. It's the exact same problem Final Fantasy XIV has. You're joking. You're joking. I heard about this. We are trapped, for those of you at home trying to figure out what's going on here. We are literally locked into this room with no exit. Now, we have an exit, which we can do. I think. Okay, let's just try this then. Nope. Okay. Okay. Good early morning. Exclamation mark. How was your sleep last night? Question mark. Oh, wow. So anyways, I started negativing. Yeah, she lives much more west than me. Where am I? Hey, Justin, we're... Alright, we'll just launch then. Hey! Look, it's the room we were just in. Look, you can see. Down there, there's the forklift. Oh my god, game. I'd rather you not, Mr. Red. You got rent to pay, remember? Plus, you gotta get pizza today. No, Orcano! No! No, that definitely didn't happen. Speaking of which, I should update the HUD with that negative for that. Aw, I can't actually swim. Probably because this game doesn't understand three-dimensional space. I was thinking about that recently. WoW was built from the ground up to have a concept such as 3D. Which I know sounds strange, but think of it like Morrowind, which doesn't have a concept of 3D. Whereas in Oblivion, they actually had to add a physics engine. So, the reason I bring this up is WoW added the concept of 3D for swimming. And they were then able to take and piggyback that and allow for flying stuff later on. But I have not seen any sign ever in all my years of playing Tor that any of the engine actually acknowledges the concept of 3D. That's why we're always railed to the ground. I'm explaining that wrong, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Because jumping puzzles aren't 3D. I know that sounds strange, but it's true. Like, Doom has jumping puzzles, but there's no 3D in Doom. There's... Word. There we go. Yes, we're gonna switch over to Mass Effect when we's done. Oh. do it, Mr. Red. Don't do it. Or there'll be stabbing. Lack of story relevance in Shepard's class and ME. I mean, it doesn't bother me as much there because we're always Shepard. Like, we always start as the same character, really. Now, that being said, I would have almost rather they didn't give us a background at all. Because it's so vestigial, you know? It's like we get a slightly different speech at the beginning from the ambassador, and then we get a very slightly different dialogue and quest like 5 times in the whole trilogy, and that's it. Good! Exclamation mark. Clearly I need to get a hold of this pill myself.
Close one there. That should do it. Let's head back and find out if Colonel Cord's made any headway on those scanners.
Yeah, like I said, it's really a non-issue. It's kind of like Dragon Age 2, to be blunt. You don't really decide who Hawk is before the game starts, you decide how Hawk is after the game starts. We'll talk about that when we get to Mass Effect, because it's a good topic to talk about. It's a different philosophy.
Aye, aye.
Are we underwater right now? Listen, we're never getting to Mass Effect, okay? I've just decided, you know, let's just play Tour Vanilla again. Who's up for that? Just kind of go through Agent one more time, you know? Just kind of chill, you know? Oh yeah, but this time we play the opposite.
Good start. Keep at it, Lieutenant. Lieutenant Dar has patched up our long-range communications. The holocalls aren't what I would call reliable yet, but we were able to briefly reach the Executioner. Unfortunately, we haven't made much headway in repairing our scanning equipment. We may have to rely on the Executioner if we're going to locate the Republic's weapons. How did things go on your end?
From the sound of it, Major Anri and I are the only ones who accomplished what we set out to do.
And the citizens of the Empire who benefit from this Kolto will appreciate your efforts. Darth Noroc made a brief appearance on the way to his next objective. I updated him on our progress and your success with the platform's defenses. He was quite pleased.
Can't you call him back? Sooner or later we'll need to hammer out a plan with Darth Noroc for after the Republic's gone.
Darth Noroc's priority is getting the Kolto mining operation in working order again. He won't be pleased if I interrupt his work.
After everything we've done, the least you could do is get Darth Noroc on a holo call.
Fine. I can do that much.
It's the Executioner, sir. They managed to make contact again.
Put them through. They could have an update on the location of the Republic's guns.
Colonel, thank the stars we reached you. We just received a distress signal from our shipping docks on the surface. It's faint, but we heard enough. The Republic has overrun their position. The entire platform is in lockdown, and if we don't...
Blast! There's enough Koltos sitting on those docks to secure many decisive victories for the Empire. We can't let the Republic get their hands on it. I need you both to stop them. Darth Noroc?
It must be done. We must take control.
We will, my lord. We won't let any pubs off that platform with our Kolto.
Should I try to get him back?
Don't think that's necessary, sir.
What do you want to bet Darth Noroc doesn't exist? I mean, we've actually already talked about the class problem, Dr. Winter. There's a reason we have that one gun, which we use in every cutscene in all of Mass Effect. It's something I've complained about in this game. Oh my god, it's Lord Malgus, and you know, I'm just gonna launch. Thanks. Oh my god. In the future, Malgus will go into the space in between, rewind time, and be born 1,000 years ago as a young Sith named Tenebrae. But then, hang on. After we kill Tenebrae for the 3rd time, he gets, like, destroyed, but instead of just being normally destroyed, he's thrown to the lands between, in which case he goes back in time as a young Darth Malgus.
So much for sneaking in.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to do about it. Hi, cheating. Yeah, nobody spoiled nothing. I've walked in quite blind, and I'm actually happy about that. But all I'm saying is that Malgus is Tenebrae is Malgus. And he's just constantly going back through the loop. Over and over again, forever. That would be a fate worse than death. Ugh. We have to decide what class we're going to play. I was leaning towards Engineer because I've never done it. And it's the class I am the least familiar with. I have, of course, played Soldier, but I've also played Vanguard. And, you know, I've played around with biotics in general. I played a Geth engineer in the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, which was very fun, but I don't know how indicative that is. I mean, I've played everything in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Well, you see, Revan is the tether, the anchor, right? Oh, anyways, Mr. Red, I wasn't just saying that dungeon thing because I like talking about WoW, even though I do. I was actually curious of your thoughts, if you could think of a dungeon boss that you think is a 3 positive boss in WoW. Like I said, I came up with a few.
Vondra wasn't kidding when she said the pubs had these transports locked down. They're grounded until we cut them loose.
I suppose open question, if anybody wants to answer that. Anybody's familiar with WoW. Hopefully, Duralis will stop being incredibly awesome. Nope, too late. Well, thank you for being incredibly awesome, Duralis. I will put that towards ESO. The Violet Hold is not a boss, last I checked. No, Rama. I am not. Oh, I'm actually thinking purely gameplay, forgive me, because I can think of plenty of bosses in WoW that would be more than 3 positives, if we're counting story as well. I'm thinking pure gameplay. You know, I knew you were going that way with that, Jay Palmer. I need to do Violet Hold. Please? It's like doing Uldaman back in the day. Nobody wanted to do Uldaman. Vanessa?
Incoming!
You know, that's a good one. Especially Vanessa Heroic, which has the extra phase. Which, I guess, Vanessa's only on Heroic, so never mind. I'm stupid. Nevertheless, I do agree with Vanessa. That's a good one. There you go. There's one. God damn it.
That's all of them.
Do
Time to
you
get these
have
things
to?
in the air. If we can just find somewhere to put coordinates in.
Wait, you? Gum asking me an odd question? I don't think that's possible. Is that legal? Right, I will make it legal. Henceforth, where's my paperwork? Henceforth, a review of Section 37, Book 3. Gum is hereby allowed to ask. Something strange or weird? Odd. Is allowed to ask odd questions. Oh, by the way, another thing that's getting axed from the Star Wars rewrite is torpedo spheres. Those are so stupid. Why is this thing not dead yet? No, they're just called torpedo spheres. I think they actually predate the Chiss being a thing, really. I don't even remember what torpedo spheres are from. Does anyone remember what that's from? That's very strange, J. Palmer. I was just wondering if they got a revamp, but I know they didn't. The Odin Dungeon. Ah! So the fight against Odin. I can think about that. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that. Do you guys... Okay, hold up. What are torpedo spheres from? This is going to bother me now. What are these from? Blah, 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 blah. Black Ice? That's a role-playing game. Oh, there we go. Children of the Jedi, apparently, is the first thing they really showed up in. I guess they are actually primarily a thing from the P&P. What do you know? And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they're in Thrawn's Revenge. And yeah, I've noticed they've stopped abusing the droids, which is good. Less negatives is good. I'm sick of giving this game negatives. God damn it.
Incoming!
Now, you know the funny part? I know with total certainty that someone out there is thinking to themselves, well, then just stop giving the game negatives. As if it works that way, right? Because I've gotten comments like that from people who seem to think that that's how the system works. That I could just arbitrarily give negatives and positives out regardless of the quality of the game in question. Which iteration of Heliodin was my favorite? That's actually a tough one. I think I'm going to lean towards Pandaria. Wraths was good, and it's a good second pick up there. But the thing is, Wraths was really case specific. Like it was niche. It was niche. It was there for when you needed to heal the tanks or two targets a lot. And in every other respect, it kind of sucked. Like there were certain fights you just couldn't heal as a Heliodin. Done, Rama. Seriously, Dr. Winter? Wow. I don't know why I'm surprised by anything at this point.
Those Kolto transports don't have
Yeah,
pilots.
Shocking was
Use
great.
this to send them somewhere. They'll get to the destination on their own.
Yeah, to
Getting
Odessa.
this Kolto out of Cord and Noroc's hands is the only way I trust it will be put to good use. I'm sending the transports to Odessen.
As long as you get it to the Empire, Colonel Cord won't have any complaints. Can't imagine Darth Noroc would be too happy about it, though.
You can say hi to my lightsaber. She's always eager to meet new people. Hell is that? Oh my god, it's a Star Destroyer with a planet-killing weapon on it!
Are you seeing this?
Contact Cord. We need an extraction.
Way ahead of you. Here's hoping I can get through. Sir, got a little surprise down here at the shipping docks. The Republic's guns showed up.
What about the Kolto? Where is it?
Gone. Those guns destroyed most of the transports, but most are on their way off-world.
Which is great for you and all, sir. Unfortunately for us, the Republic's just dropped a lot of fresh troops on our doorstep. We're trapped in here.
I cannot send anyone to get you out, Major. Not while those guns are still active. Darth Noroc would not approve of me sending anyone else into this situation. You don't need me. I know that both of you will figure.
Think we can make it to that?
Yeah.
We'll handle it. And we'll bring down the Republic's guns on the way out.
I could see that. So the problem here I've been having, Mr. Red, is an inordinate quantity of WoW bosses are too positive bosses. Like a lot of them. The one you just mentioned is a good example. There's some good complexity. It's a good set piece. It's got some nice variety to the mechanics. It's not overtuned. It's not padded. It doesn't overstay its welcome in any given phase. Yada, yada, yada. But it doesn't really have that extra oomph to go into triple positive territory like the Van Cleef fight that was just mentioned. Or the fight against the spoiler character from the Vault of the Wardens. Now the real fun question in my mind will be, what will be the first raid boss that is a triple positive boss? Because I think the first raid that will be in qualification for that will be Black Temple. That's by memory, obviously. I'm not sure. Oh, God, thank you for letting me stealth through this, BioWare. Really, I'm not being facetious here. I appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, God. Thank you. I could see Brutalis as being 3 positives. Ironically, because he's such a simple boss. No, it's the Chrono Trigger thing, right? Brutalis is a... For those of you not familiar with the fight, is a very simple fight, but is extremely well-tuned. Like, very precisely crafted. They spent a lot of time and effort on getting down into the nitty-gritty of cooldowns and ability cycles and the exact health of the boss and so forth and so on. It was a very tightly designed fight. So, I feel like there should be a shuttle right here that I just walked through. Pretty sure I just watched it out that window over there land. Ironically, I'm not sure about Kael'thas. I knew what you meant, Gum Gum. The answer is no, I wouldn't accept it at all.
Close one there.
If it was a judge, capital J, then yeah, I'd accept it because they're a judge. But that's because they've been proven in-universe over repeated action, right? If it was some dude in a wig who's like, yeah, I've decided that for the crime of being male, you must be flayed. I'm not going to accept that, no. The first 2 positive bosses. Now, that is a good question, Mr. Red. Razorgore the Untamed, I think. Which is actually pretty early on, if you're thinking about it. I know what you meant, Jay Palmer. I know what you meant. Although, the dungeon fight is actually a pretty good fight, too. It's the first fight of Blackwing Lair, Mr. Red.
I am the law.
Yes, yes, I am questioning them. Absolutely, Gum Gum. With a gun, if necessary.
I am the law.
There. I'll say it one more time, Kay. Just for you, just because I care about you that much. You know what's funny, Jay Palmer, is I was one of those people who was kind of championing the soloing Razorgore thing. Okay, hey, it's there now. Yay. That was a trip, I gotta tell you. Like, that is not an easy fight to solo early on in WoW's history. I absolutely can, Caspian. I mean, hell, that sounds like an overpowered group to me, to be blunt. You can literally one-shot Neo Exdeath with that group. That's not a joke. Probably Magister. We are going to show off a little bit of vanilla content, almost entirely the raids, and we'll discuss it a little bit, but the only thing that'll be part of the review is the vanilla raids that remain, which, just for the sake of completion, is MC, Blackwing Lair, Rack, TAC, and that's it. And then we'll move on to BC. What is it? Super suspenseful music. It's
Darth Noroc.
What in blazes are you doing here?
I could ask you the same question.
Is that? You've got to be kidding me.
Don't just stand there. Release me at once.
Tread carefully, or I'll hand you back to the Republic if I don't throw you out of the shuttle first.
Do not toy with me, fool. The longer you keep me like this, the worse the consequences will be.
No need for that, my lord.
Aw, I was...
Anything stupid, Noroc. Unless you'd like to put the buoyancy of your armor to the test.
I wanted to kill him.
Take me to Cord. I will wring the air from that useless invertebrate's carcass for this.
What does he have to do with this?
If he had done what I asked in the first place, there would be no need for my presence.
What do you mean? Colonel Cord's done his best to keep this operation running for you.
I repeatedly told Cord his little Kolto mining stations weren't good enough. The Empire does not toil and struggle for a mere trickling of resources. We take what we want. Cord had one objective: the complete subjugation of Manan. He refused to comply with my instructions, so I relieved him of his command. The Republic arrived at Manan as I began my descent to the surface. I had no time to act. In one swift moment, their forces destroyed our weapons, shot me down, and set upon me.
How can you call yourself Sith when you so easily allowed the enemy to capture you?
You chose to leave our ranks. How dare you question the validity of my position?
Hate to break up this very productive discussion, but I can't land this thing without drawing attention. Too many pubs out there. But it's now or never. We won't get a better shot at taking out these guns.
If these animals are all that stand between me and an unyielding grip on Manan, I will eradicate every last one.
Interesting lightsaber.
Here we go.
Buy it on the cartel's market now. They're pulling the STO thing. I've noticed they've been doing that for the last couple of expansions, actually. Showing off stuff you can buy. What? What? This is where I just was. Like, this is where I left from. God. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Thank God I have this on 0 cooldown. I'm getting more use out of this legacy ability during this quest than most other parts of the entire game. It's bounce, 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 bounce. Oh yeah, by the way, this guy was the frickin' Minister of Logistics, by the way. Or from the Ministry of Logistics, or whatever.
Aye, aye.
Yeah, I need to have a chat with Valron. Hey! Yep, the disgusting horde takes what it wants. I'm sorry, are you asking about dungeons or bosses at this point, Mr. Red? Although Ashara would probably be a 2 positive. I actually think the 3rd boss there is a better one.
Incoming!
I admit I was thinking about the Kuchong boss as a 3 positive boss. It's very creative. And necessitates the party splitting up in order to properly bring it down. Now, the Kuchong raid boss in the Heart of Fear, definitely a 3 positive boss fight. In fact, I was actually thinking about it. We might have to come up with a way to add more than 3 positives for bosses in some of the raid fights. Because holy crap. That's the one, J. Palmer. Where aggro is determined entirely based on who currently has the
We've got to turn off these power
pheromone.
conduits.
And
With
the
all the
pheromone
juice
can be
they're
passed
putting out, we
around.
need them offline before we can shut down these blasted guns. Lied to my face. Made me look like an idiot.
Speak up, Major. Do you have something to say? Perhaps about your commanding officer?
Nope. Everything's just peachy.
God,
I said
please
anything, my lord.
let me kill
Apologies
this guy.
for wasting your time.
Please let me kill this guy. God damn it. I mean, almost every Firelands boss is at least 2 positive territory. They're all good. Ragnaros is unquestionably 3 positive territory. Oh, thank God, Oculus. Yeah, Beth Talek, she's also a fantastic fight.
They didn't like that.
Lots of moving pieces. I tend to like moving pieces fights. Which is why I'm still debating Kael'thas, because the problem with Kael'thas is that he's a prototype of the moving pieces style of boss. And as a result, it's actually got a lot of problems with it. It's kind of crude and has some issues. You can just tell they were just getting used to the concept. It's not like it's a bad boss fight, it's just I don't think it's as polished as some of the later ones, you know? Unlike Alice Razor. He's another Firelance fight. A world boss that'd be triple positive? Probably not. World bosses are, by design, intended to be more gear checks than attention checks. So I don't think any of them would really be triple positive territory. Most of them probably wouldn't even be second positive territory. Yeah, the Lich King is a good example of a fight that should probably be more than 3 positives. Even just on gameplay.
I think we cut enough power to take out the guns for good. Just need to find the controls that shut them off.
The Lich King is also another multiple moving parts boss, by the way. Yogg-Saron. Oh, now that's a great fight. Oh my god, that's such a good fight. Sorry. See, the irony is, for something like Yogg-Saron, it's easy to give it multiple positives, because there's actually multiple Yogg-Saron fights, depending on how many keepers you have.
Not a Selkath in sight. They must be putting a lot of trust in the Republic if they're letting this beast cruise around Manan without any local military on board.
Don't be absurd. There is no trust between Manan and the Republic. The Selkath want the Republic gone as much as we do. As much as they want the Empire gone.
I thought the Selkath helped the Republic destroy your ion cannon.
A brief association, in opposition of a common enemy.
How do you know that?
The so-called soldiers tasked with guarding me had many complaints about Manan's natives. The Selkath's displeasure at the Republic's presence was especially confusing for them. The Republic are aggressors here. Self-righteous and unwanted invaders, though they pretend otherwise. And I will find a way to use their sanctimonious convictions against them.
All those power conduits we fried lead to manual controls on the bridge.
Can you use the controls to deal with the guns?
Does a hut have a tail?
Then we have our target. Let's go.
Wait, do huts have tails? Oh god! Oh god! Ah! Ah! I can see Taranzu, yeah. I can see Taranzu. That's a fairly complex fight. It basically boils down to know all the mechanics and know that they're coming in a random order. And what I usually call a pay attention fight. I mean, I'm confused, Gum Gum. You say that, you know, I say your setting's horrible, and then you say, yeah, there's this one woman who insists that the pilots need to die, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty horrible. Why does she insist her own pilots need to die? Like, is she a Sith? Because that would explain a lot, really. Like, we know exactly what kind of people the Sith are like, because we're grouped with one right now. I mean, you just said word for word. Hold on for 1 minute to save the pilots, because to her, there is need to die here. There must be death here. We must feed the wheel.
They're here. Oh, no. How did he escape? Weapons ready. Don't let them touch anything in this room.
Really? You're wigged out about him, but not me.
Incoming!
Yeah, that makes slightly more sense. Come. So what you're saying is there's nothing moral about her actions whatsoever. She's just not an idiot. Which, yeah, that tracks. I actually liked that fight, Jay Palmer, but then again, I was the one who memorized the order, and I would just mark him for everybody else, so... Yeah, excuse me, I am a smuggler who has killed Vitiate 3 times! Give me some credit, guys. I'm a real hero of the Empire.
Restraints or a body bag, one way or another, you're leaving.
Okay. I'm a big important person in the Republic.
They must have known we'd make it up here. Our Republic friends locked this system down tighter than bantha hide.
Can you get in?
Oh yeah, no problem. And we destabilize enough of this thing's power conduit so I
is
can
a
rig the guns to
great
explode
fight.
from here. With plenty of time for us to escape, of course. Say goodbye to the Republic's shiny new toy.
Stop.
What?
What's wrong?
Why destroy these weapons when we can take them for ourselves? Use them against the Republic should they try to stop us again. Increase the output of these weapons as high as you can, Major. Make them so powerful that we regain our unquestionable dominance over this world.
Not an option, my lord. We shut down too many of the power sources. There won't be enough juice left to supercharge the guns and keep their targeting matrix online. I do what you're asking. These guns will fire on anything that moves. Selkath, Republic, Imperials.
Good. That means no one else will be able to shut them down. When Selkath ships are obliterated by Republic weapons, their rift will deepen. The Selkath can't fight on two fronts, and when the dust is cleared, Manan will belong to me.
You there? Do you read? What's the status of those guns?
We're at the controls now, Colonel. But you...
Come in! Blast! I thought we'd worked out these comms issues.
Colonel?
Listen, if you can hear me at all, it is imperative that we destroy these guns once and for all. Our people need Kolto, and what we're doing here is the best way to get it to them. But we can't continue if the Republic is breathing down our necks like this. Darth Noroc's orders are clear. Destroy the guns.
Everything all right?
Focus, Major. Do as I command, and you shall be granted a reward befitting a conqueror of worlds.
I'm sorry, my lord, but this one gives the orders.
Henry, you just got like 30 points from me.
I came here to help the people of the Empire, not expedite their destruction. Gut these weapons.
With pleasure.
I already liked you.
Countdown initiated. I gave us enough time to get back to the shuttle, but we still better move it before these things come apart on top of us.
You will not leave until you do as I say. Increase the damage of these weapons now, Major. Or you will both learn what happens when you defy a Sith.
You just keep giving me reasons to kill you, Noroc.
My invisible lightsaber. I like how she's with me without hesitation.
I will eradicate all who oppose me!
I am not a Sith! Honestly, it's a little surprising this guy's as high tier as he is, but whatever. Anyways. But yeah, Siege of Orgrimmar. Siege of Orgrimmar is just a cavalcade of amazing fights. Just top to bottom. I'm not sure I can think of a fight that's less than 2 positives in Siege of Orgrimmar. Let me run through them in my head really quick. Nope, they're all at least 2 positive.
I am slaughter. I am destruction. I am Sith.
There is in Mythic, Nero says.
This world is mine.
I know what you mean. There is in BFA. There we go. Perfect. And we get to do the Vision of Stormwind.
I will eradicate all who
that's going to be a cavalcade of positives when we get there.
You should have obeyed my commands. Now, you will suffer! This world is mine!
I like Skyreach. A lot of Warlords' dungeons are actually surprisingly simple, considering how extremely good the first 2 raids are, Heimal, and one of the best raids in the entire game, Blackrock Foundry. Oh, it's going to take at least 2 months, Nero says. The good news is it'll be a lot smoother overall, a lot less dead time, because it's WoW. It'll be like, alright, like, the only reason the WoW lore run will take any kind of time at all is because there'll be time spent reading the quests out loud by me. You know what? Done, Blade Javal. The WoW lore run was 7 years ago? I want to say. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Solar Galax. This is whatever. Bad raid bosses post-Kata. The second boss of Hellfire Citadel is probably only a 1 positive boss fight. Like, if you're asking me for a negative boss fight in WoW, I gotta think about that. Because most of those are in the early stuff, you know? Like, there's the frickin' Spine of Deathwing, and then there's, Hyjal, right? Most of Hyjal. And some of the older stuff, like Molten Core, is going to be several negatives for boss design. But once you get to Pandarian onwards, an actual bad boss fight...
You should have obeyed my commands. Now, you will suffer!
Haven't you already asked me that exact question, Nerazes? Last week, I want to say. Oh, I can think of worse. It's fine.
That sure cut into our escape time.
Then let's not waste any more time.
A 3 negative boss fight in WoW. I don't think there is such a thing, to be honest. In MMOs in general? I should have asked you if there were any in FF14. I'm pretty sure we've given a couple in Tor. Yeah, Tenebrae was a triple negative. Actually, it was a quintuple negative, but let's not get into that. A triple negative MMO boss fight. It's funny you say that, X. Did you know there's actually a cosmetic you can get that looks just like that in this very game? It's not supposed to be cloaked, it's supposed to be a hologram, but it comes out the same way. I think you're right, Mr. Red. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Yeah, here, I'll show you. It's, oh, what's the name of the damn things? Tuning, that's what they're called. Tuning. That would be... that one. It's kind of hard to tell on this weapon, but yeah. A bit of variance, you can see what the actual hell looks like there, too. FF14 1.0 had triple negative boss fights, yeah. How many negatives did we give to Titan? The original Titan, the first Titan fight. Because I think that's as close as we're getting at FF14.
I've raised my brows at a lot of things you've done, but never in my wildest dreams did I think you were capable of something so blasted stupid.
Mind yourself, Major. I won't permit this insubordination while there's still so much work left to do.
Mind myself? Stars, you're brainless. We found Darth Noroc, Colonel, and he wasn't too happy to hear about what you've been up to. You had the brass to speak for a Sith with ties to the Dark Council without his permission, but that wasn't reckless enough for you. Not telling anyone that Noroc was missing. Forging his orders. And the best part's gotta be how you dragged us into your stupidity. I know Noroc was a pain, sir, and I know he was keeping you from supporting the Empire the way you thought was right. I might have understood if you had just told me about all of this from the start, but you lied to me. And that I don't understand.
Now that I kind of like, because you notice Henri had no issues killing Nora because he was a moron. And because we asked her to. Her mate, I love how she's mainly pissed off here because he didn't let her in on things.
Falsifying the word of a Sith is a serious transgression, Colonel, and you put everyone at risk.
Where is Darth Noroc?
He attacked us when we destroyed the Republic's guns. We had to kill him.
Then how can you blame me for what I've done? You saw for yourself what Noroc does to anyone who opposes his greed, and you stuck by what you thought was right. Just as I did.
Other than making a complete fool of yourself, what exactly did you do?
Whatever mess you found Noroc in was the result of his own arrogance. When I lost contact with him, I simply took advantage of his absence. My entire career, I've done nothing but prove my admiration for the Sith. I served without question, believed they had a right to rule the Empire. Until I had a chance to lead this operation, I cherished the idea that I was helping soldiers live to see another day. Noroc, however, kept saying I needed to think bigger.
Yes, this is
He wanted all of Manan under his rule. But we didn't have the resources to sustain a prolonged occupation of the entire planet. It would have achieved nothing. Nothing more than a boost to Noroc's ego. I refused to sacrifice faithful citizens of the Empire for something so irresponsible. And I do not regret that decision. Or the decision to use Noroc's name, if it means not one life will be wasted on a Sith's ambition.
I see you finally solved your communications problem, Colonel. Now that the lines are open again, I need an update on your progress. Strictly going by who I see in the room, I'm assuming everything is going well.
That's correct. Colonel Cord, Major Henri, and I have worked tirelessly to bring the Kolto mining network back to full efficiency. I think you'll be quite pleased with the results.
That's correct. And as a matter of fact, we just got a large Kolto shipment off-world and dealt a crippling blow to the Republic's weapons.
Excellent. That is just what I was hoping to hear. I'll leave you to continue your work, Cord, but I expect another update soon. Krovis out.
I'm sorry. What exactly is happening? I'm not complaining, mind you, but why didn't you say anything to Darth Krovos?
Noroc told me himself that Imperial lives were expendable. He died trying to prove that point. I want those ideas to die along with him. If anyone asks, the Republic killed Darth Noroc.
Don't think anyone here is going to say any different.
Well, then, thank you. Not for what you've done for me, but for what you've done for the Empire. Many will owe their lives to you. You've given us a secure foothold on Manan, which means a more certain path to victory. But there is still much to do. Speaking of which, we'd better get back to it. Unless you don't plan to stay, Major.
Of course I'm sticking around. At least until I find someone else to give you a kick in the pants when you get another one of these half-baked ideas. Colonel Cord's explained the situation to everyone who hadn't heard yet, even apologized. Didn't see one tear shed over losing Darth Noroc. Thought that was interesting. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. Not too many of us were looking forward to taking over all of Manan. Now we can focus on what we came for.
I like it when you talk business. You sound so assertive.
Really? You ask anyone else, I say I run my mouth too much. Glad you don't mind. I've seen you in action so many times, and you still never cease to amaze. Not to mention all the times you've come through for me. You're probably tired of everyone constantly falling over themselves for you. I'm sure you don't need to hear me go on about how amazing I think you are. But I can count the number of people I trust on one hand. Every time we meet, you more than earn your place on that list. Hope you know how much I appreciate that.
I don't know. What do you think, chat? I'm muted. We haven't actually committed to any relationship with anybody in this game, so... fine.
If you want to show me how much you appreciate me, you can start by buying me a drink.
Not a bad idea, but I've got something better in mind.
What, like dinner, too? Oh, okay, that's not what I thought.
You're right. That was much better.
Let's just hope we don't have to wait too long before we get to do that again. Anyway, I know you have a lot to get back to, and I don't want to keep you from it. Thanks for sticking around and seeing this through.
It's actually one of the oldest emotes we have from all the way back in the Dragon Age Inquisition run, Dr. Winter. Which was a long time ago.
Which way to the victory celebration?
Okay, the third option there says, not this guy.
Rivix.
I know you must be weary after all you...
And that's the reaction is, Rivix. Okay, here.
Which way to the victory celebration?
I wasn't expecting to see you here. Is something wrong?
As much as the sight of you improves my mood, I'm afraid I come with grim news. We've lost contact with the team we deployed to explore the ruins of Darth Null's fortress on Elom. It could be a simple malfunction, but given the importance of their mission and the site's interest to Darth Malgus, we should investigate immediately.
Manan is secure enough. Should we take your ship or mine?
On that note...
I'll be your chauffeur for this mission.
I wasn't expecting you.
I tried to persuade your... associate that you were in capable hands with me, but...
But I've not had the opportunity to work with our esteemed ally. I thought this would be the perfect time to become better acquainted.
How could I refuse such a charming request? I have some final arrangements to see to. I'll meet you at the ship.
He certainly has a way with people. We cannot trust him.
I'm with you. If he crosses us, we kill him.
Naturally. Shall we?
We actually already have a reason to kill him, so...
That's just it. So little is known about you at present. It's a mystery, just like Darth Null.
Does that trouble you?
Not at all. I quite enjoy it. You should hear the stories people tell.
Should I?
You would find them flattering, I'm sure. I once heard that you only remain at your impressive master's side in order to disguise your full power. After all, Who can say what you're truly capable of when you live in a shadow cast so long?
Who indeed?
That's an interesting form of complementariness. You're on, Mr. Red.
Strange. There's some kind of energy shield over the dig site. The readings don't match any Imperial or Republic design.
Is that the cause of the communications blackout?
Most likely. We can't fly through it either. We'll have to land and approach on foot.
Intriguing. I'll apprise Darth Krovos of the situation. Putting reinforcements on standby seems prudent. Seems like just another ruin.
The shield is projected from a power source near the temple entrance. I suggest we bring that down first.
So that reinforcements can join us more directly if necessary. Thinking ahead. You're as cunning as they say.
Shall we?
So what you're saying is Lana's gonna turn on us. Damn it! I liked Lana too. Oh well. Let's see. Let's get it with a appropriately creepy playlist here. Let's go with the horrifying Death Doom. That sounds like a good playlist.
Something is off. These creatures are hostile beyond all reason.
Look out!
Oh no! Oh god! They saw me through the stealth! A whale shark from Cataclysm. I don't think that counts. Although I have killed that stupid thing, but it also has way too much health. Ironically, the only reason I would agree with you that that boss deserves A negative is because it has too much health. I actually like the form of its mechanic. It's a holdover from the Hunter quests back in Manila. Don't let it reach you. I've been looking through the negatives I gave FF14. I actually gave a lot of bosses negatives, but usually just one negative. In fact, I haven't found a single boss that got a second negative yet. Unless you count Ranjit, which I don't, because, like, the Ranjit 1 fight got a negative, then the Ranjit 2 fight got a negative, and etc, etc. That doesn't count. Space whales? What's a space whale, Gum Gum? I've never heard of such a thing. Yeah, me too, Jay Palmer. Especially the continuation of I forget her name's story. You know, the Battle Maiden. But no, if it's not extremely obvious, we're ejecting the crap out of the space whales because they're stupid. What's all this crap? Oh, hey, gear. That is barely an upgrade. Oh god. Hang on. That's another thing. The space whales are also not going to be in the Star Wars rewrite, while we're on the subject.
What is that?
Irritating.
I have a theory. Given the native wildlife's abnormal behavior, it's possible this machine is manipulating their... Well, that was fast confirmation.
Rawr. Star. Sorry. Damn it, Gideon Emery. Let's be honest, the only person anybody likes Fenris is because of Gideon Emery. Oh, and the fact that, you know, he's sexy and all that. Which, I guess, is redundant because he's Gideon Emery, but you get my point. You get my point. You get my point. What are the space whales? So in Star Trek IV, A Voyage Home, there's these whales, right? And there's this probe that comes down from outer space, wondering where the whales are. I mean, Penris's story is a severe tragedy. It's kind of the point of it. One of the legitimate criticisms I could point at Fenris, other than just him being, you know, irritating, is the fact that he's a little bit too darkier and edgier. But yes, the space whales are dumb, and the probe is dumb, and everything's dumb. Dumb. Well, they never actually confirm what's going on with the probe, but there's actually a book called Probe, which is literally about that probe. In fact, some of the book is written from the probe's perspective. And it turns out that extremely advanced aliens, who are whales, built the probe a long time ago. Interesting.
Watch out!
Space whales. Oh no. Yeah, there's a lot of implications of A New Hope, or excuse me, Voyage Home. I don't know, different 4 that don't work at all. You know what? You're actually right, Evo. Fenris's character arc isn't concluded, whereas most of the others go through a cohesive arc. Fenris is just, mages are evil. All mages are evil. Yeah. It's really funny if you have Anders and Fenris in the same group as each other. This is a really boring fight. My god. He has 3 mechanics total if we count occasionally attack the trash and uses a beam attack as a mechanic. I was actually thinking about this. There's a fight in Blackwing Lair called Broodlord Lashlair. Now, it's a seemingly very simple fight, but you can tell they had started getting creative with it, because the fight has 2 major mechanics to it. I would agree with that, Evo. Not just because of the voice actor. And the extreme sexiness.
If Darth Null created these machines, she must have been a talented scientist, or a master of Sith alchemy. Perhaps both.
After centuries, her creations still function, more or less. An impressive feat. The shield. It doesn't match any known designs because Null built it so long ago. Perhaps the dig team activated it by accident, and they're still safe.
Or they activated it because they were attacked. We shouldn't rule anything out at this point.
We can stay here and guess, or we can move on and learn the truth.
Fair enough.
After you.
The Toenails boss? Which one, J. Palmer? if I could talk about this briefly. Oh, no, I like that fight. You kidding me? So, there's 2 mechanics to this boss, and that's it. Lots of cleave damage. In fact, he has 3 separate cleave attacks. Excuse me, 2 separate cleave attacks, and 1 attack that just hits like a truck. It's Mortal Strike. So, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Now, why is that relevant? Because the second attack he has is a knockback, which specifically reduces the aggro of his current target by half, right? Now, you're probably thinking, what's the relevance here? It's a slow enrage, but it's a really creative slow enrage. Because the way it works is the tanks are just generating as much threat as they possibly can, and they need to be a little bit spread out because they don't want to be facing anybody with the cleaves, and of course the hits are hitting like a truck. But every time it does a knockback, tank loses half of their threat. Now, if you look at the fight over time and you look at the threat bars, as the tanks are slowly losing threat, like all 2 or 3 or 4, depending on what your composition is, tanks are losing threat bit by bit. Nobody else is losing threat throughout the course of the fight. So there's a cresting moment where the DPS will start to overtake the tanks no matter what. That's the slow enrage. So then he'll turn and he'll start smashing the DPS, which is why it's so important that his first mechanics are a cleave and a hit that'll hit like a truck, because he's pretty much going to guaranteed kill a DPS that manages to crest over that threat line. It's a really cool way to do that kind of a slow enrage. And I mentioned that because that's one of the reasons why I like WoW bosses. Sure, they can be ludicrously complicated, but they also know how to do simple mechanics and just dovetail them nicely into each other to make for fun mechanics. And then there's the Spine of Deathwing. But anyways, which is ironically probably an attempt at them being a little bit too clever, but... So the final Deathwing fight, to answer you directly, Jay Palmer, I actually rather enjoy that fight, but then again, I did do it at the time. Legit and all that. In fact, I did most raids legit up until Legion, actually. Through Legion, through Legion. I don't know. Doing a full discussion on that would probably take a minute, because there's a lot of moving parts in that fight. But I do like how... So, for those of you wondering at home, the final Deathwing fight, you start off with each of the aspects is giving you something. It's not just a buff. Like, for example, one of the aspects will throw down a slow. So, the missile that's coming in will slow down temporarily, giving you more time to DPS it down. As the fight progresses, all of these buffs, all of these benefits you get from the aspects go away. So you start off at your strongest as you're just mulching through them. And the whole point of the fight is you want to get through enough of his arms and enough of his pieces before you start running out of those buffs, because by the time you run out of all the aspects buffs, you're barely holding on to this sheer amount of damage and destruction that he's pouring out on every platform. Oh, you also have to split your raid up into 4 groups, by the way, while we're on the subject. Yeah, this is the Madness of Deathwing fight. Sound familiar too, but I think all droids just sound the same in this game. I should probably try to hurry up. Let's talk about WoW. Okay. Not really. No, Gum. That is really stuttering
More droids!
Today. Are there more droids? Who's... Hey, back here. Look at this. Yep, no, I think that's where one's gonna go. Alright. Listen, at least we're not fighting droids again, right? how's my health lately? I have not yet recovered. My throat is still not better, and I'm still hacking up stuff. It's 2 weeks now. Over 2 weeks. Worst character Balthier has ever voiced. Let's see. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I'm gonna skip on that for one now. I don't think Mr. Ed's even there. Yes, it does, Dr. Winter. How many? God, that is choppy as hell. Look at that. What are you doing, game? Whatever. Where am I? Is there a corporate sector within the extant? No. There aren't actually that many large corporations in general. Both. Well, okay. The answer is it varies, Dr. Winter. But there are several cases in which it is both. Free trade sector. Isn't that just like normal places? Invisible lightsaber. Horse trades. I already answered that. Caught up with the question. Oh, that sounds like a cool idea, J. Palmer. Yes, Evo. Go, go, go. Ask. Or donuts. So J. Palmer says, some friends and I are remaking Dead Mines. I'm curious in what. Or if you don't make it in time, the Juggernaut sets sail without you. Then you have to fight through Stormwind to reach the Griffins in order to fly to the Juggernaut to destroy it, which I really like. Like I said, I like that idea. What I would probably do is, if I was insane, which I am, I would come up with 2 completely different end boss fights depending on if you catch it in time or if you have to bomb it from above, right? So, for example, if you successfully reach the Juggernaut, you fight, for example, Vanessa, right? And then you have to chase through the Nightmare Dream. But if you get out onto the ship, you know, something a little more explosive based, like maybe you're fighting her commanding the ship, so the ship itself kind of becomes the final boss fight itself. Since the organization is perfect, what's the biggest flaw of the extant? Well, I assume you mean the biggest flaw of the Empire. The biggest flaw of the Empire is that they have that problem, which is a real problem in real life, where you are good and kind and considerate and thoughtful, and therefore evil people can take advantage of you. And probably the biggest problem the Empire has on a macroscopic scale is that it is possible, you've got to be freaking kidding me, for other macro organizations such as the Hegemony to take advantage of their generosity and tolerance. So it is easier to infiltrate, easier to mess with, easier to sabotage than a more totalitarian or utilitarian organization. Where are these stupid keystones? Please tell me I don't have to kill more things. I do, of course. That's my life. I just gotta kill some droids. Come on, me. These questions. I think Jace's power could have seen Order 66 coming with clones. No. Now, she might have seen Palpatine, assuming it's perfect. Well, that's a good question, Evo. I haven't really got that far yet. As I believe I've elucidated to you more than once, your story is pretty far on the timeline. There's not many stories after the Swarm War, and that's kind of on purpose. Because I want to fill out before the status quo change, before I fill out after the status quo change. Does WoW still have that thing where you become a Death Knight and everyone throws food at you until you talk to an NPC? Yes. So you asked a bread question. It was about baking bread and how stupid and dumb I am, but I don't remember the specifics of it. I don't think the bot caught it. So, if it's the question you asked yesterday, then I have tried making bread, and it usually doesn't look particularly good, and I have troubles with it going bad very quickly. I have to kill the elite, don't I? Of course I do. Of course I do. What else would there be to do here? I am not a very particularly good baker. That's my sister's job. Why did I decide to name the good guy faction the Empire? Good question, actually. And I did do that very much on purpose. So, young me, this would have been somewhere around 1994, something like that. Was thinking, you know, there's this trend that was true even back then, where the empires were always evil, and the republics or the kingdoms were always good. In fact, there's even a trope named after that. Hey, I don't have to kill anything. Why did I say that? Now, older me can tell you that's because of World War I. And it is. It's because of World War I. There's more history that goes into that, but that's the core reason. But, that is a common trend, and I was like, you know what? I want an empire that's good. I want to make my organization, which was always designed to be good. You remember, that's one of the original precepts of the entire setting. Good. I want to make them a good organization, good aligned, like the Federation is usually presented as being. That's it. That's the mentality. And it's stuck ever since. God, look at that chop! Oh my God, look at that chop. Oof. That's awful. What is going on tonight? I don't have anything else going on other than what I usually do. This is just normal stuff. And it's just like, you know, I'm going to try something. I know we're like literally an hour from being done with this game forever, but this is a great time to mess with this. I'm actually curious here. Let's just crank that down. Actually, hang on. Cancel. Hold up, hold up. Let's set the frame rate to 60. Did I fix anything? Yeah, even in MLP, I mean, one of the reasons that all the princesses were named princesses, even when they were queens, was because queens were perceived as being evil, and princesses were good. It's the same general concept. What? Okay. Part of the other thing, I've always been very into simple names. As a deliberate thing, I prefer simple names. Of course I did even. I even answered it in my head in the middle of the night when I was hacking up a bunch, but I wanted to type up something more in-depth. And I don't know if you know this, but typing on the phone sucks. So I didn't answer you in the middle of the night because I don't want to type on my phone. And this morning I was doing the audit for the game because I figured we'd be finishing the game today. That's a little less choppy. I gotta where's this stupid thing? Anyways. Does that answer you, Lord Haramont? Sorry, I'm just trying to keep track of it. Oh, there it is. I see it. Yeah, the Crystal Empire, aka the Crystal City-State. Which is funny, because that actually sounds cooler to me, but what the hell do I know? Let's just crank everything down. I'm just sick of this. Let's just do this. Let's just crank this crap down. Oh, that looks weird. It's smooth, though. Look! Look. Yeah, this engine's having issues at this point.
That looks useful.
We'll need another. It can't have gone too far.
God, that looks terrible. Alright, do I think RPGs can have strategy elements implemented well? Yes. I think Jace's power wouldn't have helped. Hang on, let me delete all these questions. Immediately run to the wall. One of my stories, I have a little problem. There's a guy who rules over stuff. This other guy wants to wage guerrilla war about it, but they're being hunted down, considering a massive disadvantage the second group has. How can I just surviving for long and then growing in power? The usual approach fiction uses is to make the first group incompetent to the point of questioning how they're even still functioning. I don't recommend that. Hello? Use the thing. Yeah, that looks much worse. Jesus.
This is the source of the shield.
Now we're playing KOTOR. No, Trihexia. It's like saying RTSs are dying out. It's not how that works. You can go the corruption angle, Evo.
Dead Jedi, dead soldiers. This one was on the dig team. The attack must have started here.
The bodies. They weren't all killed by blasters or lightsabers.
A trap!
Alright, so... Oh my god, it's a wall boss!
Trespassers detected.
Droids!
Interesting. So hear me out for a second. So I mentioned corruption. Let's say group 2. Let's call them regime. Regime has rich / noble / members of the royal family / whatever. It doesn't actually matter. It does not matter. Whatever they are, they're wealthy, they're powerful, and they have a vested interest in trying to maintain or procure more of that wealth and power. They're backing the rebels. So the rebels have access to finances and resources far beyond what they should. Money opens doors for them, even though they're on the run and trying to survive against what is effectively an overwhelming foe. They're in the background constantly bribing, like, the scouts or the officers who actually find them. Like, imagine they're out in the forest, for example, and a troop finds them, brings them in. You know, they surrender peacefully because they're not stupid. They're brought in, and they tell the commander, so, you never saw us. We'll pay you handsomely for that. Stuff like that. I could give more examples, but you get the idea. I wouldn't even call it a faction. It doesn't have to be a faction. It could be one person. There could be several people who are doing it completely independent of each other. If I was doing it, I'd probably have there be several nobility who are all doing it for the same reason, and all of them completely unaware that the other ones are doing it. And the rebels, excuse me, the guerrillas are just taking it. Because, you know, why not, right? Oh, that was the map fall one? Wow. I actually kind of like this fight. One of the better fights here. I know that's kind of a low bar, but whatever.
Damage detected.
All of the advantages, Evo, they're a private military force that doesn't answer to the actual people in charge. They're a way to try and upset and change the status quo in their advantage. They could be used to direct attacks against their enemies, their rivals, economic rivals. Like, there's just all kinds of advantages there.
Service.
That sounds awesome. Act. Use the terminal. Oh, there it is. I like how
That did
surprised
it.
you sound.
The shield has dropped. Our comms should work now.
I'll contact Darth Krovos immediately. The enemy already came here once. They may well bring reinforcements. We should do the same.
Darth Null was clearly a genius, far ahead of her time. How is it possible that we have no records of her? I'm beginning to suspect that this was intentional. Her whole existence erased purposefully.
But why?
Perhaps one of her creations made her a threat to the Dark Council, or even the Emperor, though that's difficult to imagine. Even so, I struggle to think of anyone else with the power to wipe someone from history so completely.
Why would that bankrupt them, Gum Gum? That doesn't actually make sense.
If that's true, I can see why Malgus would want to learn more about her.
The only other person to make Emperors and Dark Council members that nervous is you.
Krovos has confirmed that reinforcements are on the way. We can't be far from the ruins. Let's hurry on.
Well, as my sister is fond of making fun of me for Evo, I have difficulty not writing political stories. I don't care. Let's see, questions. So Melkor Blade says, the only reference I have to something like WoW bosses is Diablo 3. Are there any boss fights in there, I assume you mean WoW, that are like moving pieces bosses? Yes. There's quite a few, so... There's a few types of bosses in WoW. These are all my terminology, speaking as a raid leader. There's pay attention checks, there's gear checks, there's tuning bosses, get to that later, and there's moving pieces bosses, which is all about a huge amount of moving pieces just bouncing around, trying to manage all of those different pieces all at the same time, right? In other words, it's a boss fight where you're not fighting one thing, really, you're actually fighting like 5 things. Every one of those things needs to be handled and managed, right? Now, I don't mean an ad fight. That's another type of fight. Ads fights are exactly what they sound like. They're ad fights. Swarm, swarm, swarm. There's also healing fights. Those are very rare. But those are fun fights. And there's a few others. There's what's called a patchwork fight. But that's kind of a separate sort of a thing. And I've actually stopped doing that, which I'm not sure what I think about that. But I don't know what else to answer for this question. So I'm going to move on to the next question, which is... Blade Traval says, what would I suggest as the first race and class for someone playing WoW for the first time? So race doesn't matter. Pick whatever the hell you want to. Does not matter. There are racials, they don't matter. Pick whatever looks cool. That's my advice on that. Class, that's a lot trickier. That can't be good.
I sense something.
I sense it too. Malgus.
He's here. Hurry.
Race can affect starting zone. And the fact that I have to say it that way just... It's more complicated than it should be. And that's how I'm going to say that, because it's more complicated than it should be. But yes, race can affect starting zone. That is a true statement. Whoops, I didn't mean to sell that.
There, that's our way forward.
So if you want a class that's very new player friendly, play a hunter. I know that sounds boring, but I've actually recommended that for years, and honestly that recommendation has never changed. Hunters are extremely new player friendly. They have the least positional and situational requirements. What am I fighting? Of any class, and they can function in multiple different aspects of playing, and they're very good for soloing. However, if you're not sure what type of role you want, tank, healer, or melee, you've got a couple of options there as well. Paladin, Monk, and Druid can all do all 3. So if you want to hedge your bet, and have the opportunity and option to tank or heal or deep... For a brand new player, I would probably recommend Druid of that bundle, but Paladin is a good choice. There's nothing wrong with playing a Paladin. You have to understand, WoW's class design is top-notch at this point. It's hard to recommend a class over other classes because class design is top-notch, right? That being stated, the more modern the class is, generally speaking, the better designed it is. So if you really just want to dive in, and I know you know how to play MMOs, so you're not a new MMO player, you're probably capable enough to play a monk. I would recommend a monk at that point. In fact, I would even recommend a Pandaren monk, because then you get a good intro, too. Pillars of Snow asked a good
Plenty
question.
of places for our enemies to hide.
Is the Lurker Below's optional requirement good or bad? That's a good question, actually. Who said the thing about the sensor bots? Who said it? Because I need to have a word with you. So for those of you not aware, the Lurker Below required you to have maximum fishing in order to fish it out. Now, that's the part that's debatable, because fishing has never exactly been super useful in WoW. That's true then, and that's certainly true now. However...
Enemy reinforcements.
They must be wondering what happened to their people, too.
The real problem comes from how much of a pain it was to level fishing back then. I actually specifically raised fishing to, I think it was 300, just to be able to fish up the Lurker Below. That was one of my jobs in the raid group. That was a nightmare. So in short, that's probably going to be negative territory, even though nowadays it's not as bad as it used to be. Let's see. These questions. Hopefully don't get detected. So later on, the guerrillas release their imprisoned friends with the new blood on the conflict. It escalates to full-scale war. So the implication there is that the Group 2 regime, the regime had enough people imprisoned to field effectively an army. And when I say an army, I mean troops and support personnel. I don't know the tech level here, but there has to be other support in order to make an army run. They just... Why? Why do they have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people imprisoned, Evo? Oh my god. Okay, anyways, so that's my first reaction. Huh?
Let's hope the grapples work.
So, the second point of that was they get control and gain manpower, somehow, to wage open war. How would the nobles who back them react? I'm pretty sure at that point the nobility would be like, holy crap, they've gotten out of our control. We need to stop this immediately. And they would run into something that every rich person, historically speaking, has figured out at some point or another in their life. And that's that it doesn't matter how much money you have when there's someone who really wants to kill you with a gun to your face. Yeah, what you're saying doesn't actually make sense, Gum Gum. Because what you're saying is that the companies would tank in a way that would naturally fix itself over time, because they can't actually make the stuff. Like, you say the prices go up, that's nice, but they can't, even if they spend the money on that and burn their capital, they can't actually make anything. And there's got to be at least 1 or 5 or 20 companies who realize that the resources are so rare and so expensive that they can't make them. You can't bankrupt yourself putting together a fleet when you can't put together a fleet, right? And the problem is, markets tend to have this thing where they'll effectively rubber band. This has happened before quite a few times. In fact, the most recent time was this year, where, you know, if you burn a lot of money on something that doesn't exist, the prices will balance themselves out, and it'll get back to the point where it is no longer as expensive, and therefore they're valued at a different value, which means they could use that as a way to, in order to secure capital, which they could then, ooh, hello. Let's just go for this. In order to be able to pull themselves out of bankruptcy. There's also the fact that bankruptcy is a slow and involved process, which wouldn't just happen overnight. Also, just because a company has no income doesn't actually prevent them from operating, because most companies have the ability to operate literally at a negative income level and a negative funding level, because what they do is they manage their debt. In short, I don't see how any of that could happen. No offense. Oh, please don't, Russ. Please don't. I don't want to talk about the housing market right now. It's so stupid, too. It's so stupid. Certain people who shall go nameless keep insisting that making it cheaper to get houses is helping, and they're so wrong. Because what they're doing is accomplishing the exact opposite. It has to do with... Oh, God, it's this whole thing. Let's not. Moving on. If I could write one story in WoW, what would I make it about? Oh, geez, that's a good question. So, at the very beginning of my story in WoW...
Careful.
There's this one part where the jailer's like, I am the end of everything! And it cuts to Varric from Dragon Age 2. And Cassandra's like, that's not how the story goes! Varric's like, why? You were there? Cassandra's like, no! The jailer doesn't exist. Stop making up stupid things. Tell me what really happened, Varric. And Varric's like, alright, I'll tell you the real story. And then I would rewrite all of WoW from the beginning. Let's see here. Trihexia asked a question. I think this works well. Illegitimate daughter of a noble, made legitimate because of magical inheritance. I don't know what magical inheritance means. Because I was tired of this being all shaky, Oculus. Something about this place is destroying Tor's engine. And it was, by the way, it was choppy on my end, not here, to be very clear about this. On my nuclear submarine computer of death, this place was choppy, and I found that to be unacceptable.
The temple.
So I just cranked it to minimum and said, screw it.
They aren't gonna stop us.
I know for a total fact it is not, Jay Palmer. Because I've already done tests with that back when I had the initial chop issues. Let's see. Answers. Would Gandalf's scene be... Oh, Mr. Red's not here. Justin says, will I keep the Makos for the rewrite? Abso-frickin-lutely. We're pushing the Makos to the front of the page. You kidding me? I think Taurus should get the storybook moniker. Yes. Actually, no. Depends on if I could beat this game in about, say, 30 minutes, Lord Harriman. I don't know how much content's left.
You.
Hey, Malgus.
I should have known.
What's up?
I did not come here for you. Stand aside. Or die.
The artifacts. Darth Null. What is it all for? Why are you here?
Yield, and you may live long enough to find out. My destiny, the fate of the galaxy, lies before me. Nothing can stop what is to come. Not even you.
Oh my god, I have the Force. I'm actually shocked by that. Like, I'm legitimately surprised. Oh no, we're helpless.
You will not stand in my way.
Yeah, by the way, we've killed Malgus before, canonically, on this character. I just feel like pointing that out. Okay, why don't I have that ability?
You cannot kill me!
I have a gap closer, yes.
Will consume you.
Doesn't work like that at all, but I do have a gap closer.
You cannot kill me!
Yeah, I think we've established that.
You cannot win! Pain is nothing.
And why is it spelled Canis? Sorry. Let's see. How would I handle the discovering of new Canis? Sorry, Canus. I don't know. I don't have enough information to answer that.
My rage will consume you.
How many positives do I think the
This ends now.
Death Knight Order Hall campaign will get on a review run? Lots. Is it my favorite? Yeah, it's my favorite of the Order Hall campaigns by quite a bit. There are others that are more significant. Cough, cough, rogue. But Death Knight is just a really strong arc. There's a lot of bricklaying. Did I answer Evo's question out loud? Because I know I answered it in my head. I feel like I did. Listen, I've only killed the Emperor 3 times.
You are weak.
So there's a lot of different answers. It depends on how many people, how many noble groups there are. Remember I mentioned possibility. So if it's one, they're probably just, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many there are. What matters is you have a multitudinous amount of answers.
You cannot kill me!
They could be freaking out completely. They could be in denial. They could switch paymasters immediately.
The long hunt is over.
They could decide to stick with it, to ingratiate themselves in the new regime. He's dead. Turbo dead. Forever. That's interesting. God, I'd kill myself, honestly. Oh, hey, it's Loki's prison.
Will it hold him?
until he tells us everything he knows.
I honestly thought he was going to kill himself when he pulled out his lightsaber.
Or he dies.
Will he actually tell us anything?
Probably not at first, but eventually he will accept the full gravity of his situation. A fresh dig team will resume the work on Elom shortly. Malgus made quite a mess, but with luck we'll soon know everything there is to know about Darth Null.
If her inventions can be militarized, with our replenished Kolto reserves, the Republic will have precious little hope left. The cell is satisfactory, Lord Eldred. I will share my appraisal with the rest of the Dark Council. Darth Savik should be cautious. You could be a marvelous contender for her position. With Malgus captured, what is next for the Hand of the Empire?
I don't answer to you, Krovos.
Pettiness doesn't suit you.
You think this is over? I have revealed a truth long buried. A path to power concealed by thrones and hidden by councils. Overshadowed by a war with no true victor.
You can tell it's Loki, because he's got a Tesseract.
I have seen a vision of the future, a galaxy in flames.
From an eternal empire.
What I have begun will not end with me. This is only the beginning.
Here's an interesting question. I wonder if you could kill yourself with the Force. No, think about it, right? I don't mean to be morbid, but you have the ability to telekinetically interact with stuff, right? Crush your own ribcage, break your own neck, etc. Sure. Digging deeper. Now this is it, right? I'm sorry, I didn't see the Immortal Party, but... Okay, so let's do this then. Oh. Do you think we could finish this in an hour? Real question, because it'll affect the scheduling. Yeah, I'm gonna update this real quick. Alright, there's all sorts of other things I could be doing right now, but screw it. Let's just turn that off and that off. One other thing which I'm gonna find. Which I can tell both of this. Let's just race. Oh god, that's disorienting. Why would they throw him into the sun, Evo? That's a good question, Blade Traval. We know that in a lot of fiction, telekinesis can be used to emulate flight by literally just carrying your body around. Hi, Kira.
Kira, are you alright?
Honestly, I'm not great.
I see. Then it is fortunate I came along.
I think so too. This feeling gets worse the closer we get to Elom.
Everything about Elom is unpredictable. Will you two be alright?
What Kira is experiencing is unusual, but there's no cause for worry. Not yet, at least.
Besides, we really shouldn't pass up a chance to figure out what's happening with us. When you came back from Elom, Scourge and I both got this weird feeling, like we just uncovered a memory. It's unclear, but familiar. Like a dream.
I tried to help Kira and Scourge clarify the details of what they sensed, to bring their feelings into focus. But my guidance could only do so much. We all agreed that further exploration was necessary. Scourge traveled to a place I'm unfamiliar with. There are ruins there that he suspects may have a connection to Darth Null.
I wish the big guy was here. I can't remember the last time I did something like this without him.
It is for the best. Your paths will join again, though you must walk alone for now. My hope is that being in the presence of this fortress on Elom will make sense of the strange feelings you are having.
And whatever these feelings are, if they have something to do with Darth Null, then maybe they could help you figure out what Malgus was trying to do. Guess we're about to find out, one way or another. The hand of the Empire's recovery team should have plenty to tell us.
So, I want to promise this right now. If Tenebrae is back again, I promise I will give a minimum of 4 negatives to it. I don't think they're doing that.
Before we discuss anything else, it would be best if Kira and I familiarized ourselves with this place.
But I'm committing
We'll
to
meet
it.
you at the camp after we look around for a bit. I promise we won't break anything.
No, I was kidding about the multiplicative thing. The exponential. I didn't promise exponential. I don't break promises. That's the problem. See, now I'm committed. I have said I promise. That means it's locked in. And we're back to the planet. Whatever. Hi, Talos.
Oh, hello.
Hold up. What? Sorry. Just right at the last second here. It's doing that. It's just not even an option. Whatever.
Oh, hello. Talos Strelic. I am honored to make the acquaintance of one so esteemed and to see that you've taken an interest in my work.
We've worked together
This has
before.
certainly been one of the most intriguing expeditions I've ever participated in, even after all my time in the Reclamation Service. And working with Colonel Gola has been a truly enlightening experience.
It sounds like you've achieved much working with this team.
An apt observation. Believe it or not, this fortress may not have been as isolated as we first believed. Sifting through the wreckage, I've uncovered several artifacts that bear striking similarities to relics discovered on previous archaeological digs, on worlds far from this one. Once the relics here are thoroughly documented, I will conduct a full investigation into these connections. Perhaps you could provide a map that identifies other locations Malgus targeted. Oh, I shudder to think what other priceless sites he may have ransacked if you hadn't stopped him.
This sounds promising. I look forward to hearing more.
If you are so inclined, I would encourage you to examine some of the relics for yourself. You'll find them around the camp. Someone with your abilities should have no trouble recognizing the mystifying sensations I've described. Do let me know if I can be of any further assistance.
No, what happened is we started his recruitment quest, saw what it required, and quit it, so we technically never actually recruited him. That's why he's acting so weird. Happy birthday, Papa Neeks. I recommend, even though you're sick, I recommend cheesecake. Yeah, we always gotta have giant holocrons. It's a rule. Look, sir. Droids. Platinum 2.0, Gum Gum, to answer you. So all of this, I'm just going to summarize all this. There's some strange sense of loss that feels very familiar.
A pleasure to see you again. It's been quite some time since the incident in the Dune Sea.
I do recognize him from Tatooine. Yeah, that's it, Kira White. As Malgus learned that Elom is a giant superweapon capable of destroying multiple planets through hyperspace with a single shot. I like fruit cheesecakes. So like lemon raspberry or lemon strawberry is a good one. I'm a big fan of lemon, if it's not obvious. I also, I mean, I'm easy when it comes to cheesecake. Even just plain old cheesecake, I'm with.
I'm glad to see you've offered your assistance.
We've been incredibly fortunate to have Colonel Gola join us. His expertise has been nothing short of invaluable to this team.
Thank you, Lord Rivik. Such high praise, especially considering the results of this mission.
What do you mean?
I've led many expeditions that were largely successful despite their dangers, but this one is unusual. Our time here has been relatively uneventful, yet we haven't learned much. Every fragment of every artifact found in these ruins has been examined twice over, but we still can't conclusively say why Darth Null built the machine inside this fortress. But with you here, perhaps we'll grow closer to solving this mystery. Anything you and Lord Rivik could tell me about your time here would be helpful.
Yeah, it's Gideon Emery.
No, I don't believe it.
What's happening?
That feeling I couldn't explain. I didn't think it would be this. This was from Darth Null's machine? That Malgus destroyed?
It was.
Darth Null. She was a child of the Emperor.
Oh my god. Alright, my character, of course, doesn't know what that means.
Valkorion had other children. Arkans never mentioned them.
Not that kind of children. The children of the Emperor were a secret weapon. Kind of like the servants you used to work with. They've both been around for centuries.
Yeah, that's it.
The big difference
Back
is
it up.
the servants blindly
Nuke the planet. We're out.
That wasn't the case for the children. The Sith would take people and implant them with a small piece of the old Emperor's power. Then he could control them, make them do whatever he wanted. Most of the children weren't even aware of what had been done to them. Not until it was too late.
But the Emperor is gone.
Yes, yes!
Control left of the remaining children. That connection has been severed.
This begs the question. Why would Malgus take such an interest in a pawn of the former Emperor? A centuries-old pawn at that. If only there was someone who could tell us more.
By the way, I deliberately played this theme. If you've been paying attention, I've chosen this as Valkorion's theme. And I started playing it here basically on a hunch.
Your dramatics are getting tiresome, Rivik. If you know something, say it.
As you wish. According to the records we obtained, 2 dig teams were originally sent to Elom, one from the Republic and one from the Empire. Every member of both teams has been accounted for except one. A young Jedi named Sahar Katin. All of our personnel files indicate that she's the Padawan of the Jedi historian who led the Republic's expedition team, Master Denom Orr.
If she's the only surviving witness, she could have much to tell us.
And you're gonna ask her nicely, right? No Sith interrogation techniques.
That is something to decide when we locate the Padawan, but finding leads will take time. Until then, I have a suggestion. Speak to Malgus.
You think he'll say anything?
Not willingly, but the certainty he's placed in his own schemes can be used against him. If that fails, I'm sure that a little encouragement will compel him to reveal something useful. The path forward grows ever longer, it seems.
Road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Meanwhile, yeah, my prediction is what's happening right now. That's an interesting facial texture.
Rakan?
Brother.
It's me. It's Sahar. Wait. Rakan. Please. Stop. What is wrong with you? I risked everything to be here and you won't even listen to me. If I hadn't saved you, who knows what these slavers would have...
What in blazes are you talking about? I'm not a slave.
But I thought...
You left. You don't know anything. This should have been my fight. My chance at greatness. But you stole it from me. Again.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Rakan. For everything. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that, and I'm sorry for leaving you behind. I regret it. All the time. I would give anything to go back and do things differently. I know I can never completely make it up to you, but please, can I at least try? You're all I have left. Whatever you need, I can help you.
I don't need you. But I do know someone who can use you. Follow me. Keep up and keep quiet, or you're finished.
Oh, that sounds horrible. Oh, no more Valkorian theme. What am I doing here? Yeah, I've decided we kill him. All in favor? Killing him? We actually have a theme song from Malgus too, but I don't bring it out all that often.
There you are. We tried warming him up, but it went about as well as you'd expect.
He wasn't particularly forthcoming. Perhaps you'll have better luck.
Let's talk about Elom. What were you doing in Darth Null's fortress? Are you really not going to say anything? Give us some privacy.
Are you certain?
I think this is the best way to get him to say something.
We'll leave you to it. Don't let your guard down.
I mean, I've killed him twice. I'm not super worried. Damn it, Evo.
All I want is to understand your intentions, what you were doing, and why. Why are you so interested in a child of the Emperor?
You are hopeless.
What did you say?
You're a fool. A witless, miserable wretch. And your desperate flailing against the inevitable is pathetic. You failed to see what was right before your eyes. Darth Null was no child of the Emperor. She was the first. The mother of them all. Darth Null created the children of the Emperor. She hunted the quarry. She broke them, indoctrinated them. His power, his will, but her methods, her inventions, until the Emperor no longer found her useful.
Everything Null had on Elom was destroyed. No one can use those machines anymore.
Do you think a Sith like Darth Null had no other designs? Do you think the secrets buried in that fortress will stay hidden forever? This is beyond your control. Everything my plan required to succeed has happened. My vision will come to pass. Nothing you do will stop this.
That's what you believed the last time you tried this. What happened then? You failed, Malgus. Whatever it is you started, I'm ending it.
Yes, I'm a smuggler. Thank you, Evo. I will put that towards dealer's choice. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I'm not that impressed with this, to be completely honest. I'm going to end this once and for all. After I get my breakfast takeout. I was thinking about Arby's. Would you like some Arby's, Darth Malgus? Darth Malgus is like, oh, I can't eat. I have a thing. Oh, I can't eat. I have a thing on my face.
Darth Null created the children of the Emperor? That's way worse.
Malgus must have wanted to create something similar. An army of unwitting slaves.
I thought he was better than that.
Really? You don't strike me as the type that sees the good in everybody. Did Malgus say anything else?
He said that capturing him...
Hey, Arkin wants to say hello.
Null's secrets wouldn't stay hidden forever.
Sounds like he was bluffing. Scourge and I spent years hunting down the last of the old Emperor's followers, and even we didn't find anything about Null.
And since we became aware of her existence, no one in the Force Enclave has found anything.
Non-existent records, a ruined fortress. The Emperor obviously got rid of Null and destroyed all of the evidence for good measure.
Not everything, apparently.
What do you mean?
While you were questioning Malgus, Darth Rivik sent us these audio files. They were recovered from a datapad his team found after you left Elom.
Expedition report. Day 4. Jedi Master, Delon Orr, Elom Recovery Team Leader. The more we examine the powerful device at the center of these ruins, the more concerned I become. There is a dark energy that radiates from it. One that I recognize all too well. I fear how being so close to it affects Sahar, but I must put my uneasiness aside for now. My focus must be finding and destroying the holocron Null left here. All of her designs, her plans, could be within. I will not stop until I erase every last dark stain left by the children of the Emperor. I must rectify all that we have done.
The children of the Emperor had a Jedi in their ranks.
He wasn't the only one. Master Orr mentioned a holocron. I didn't see one at the recovery team's camp.
Neither did I.
Didn't see anything about a holocron on the artifact list the recovery team sent over.
So we've got a missing Padawan and a missing holocron. Could be unrelated, but I stopped believing in coincidences a long time ago.
We should focus on locating the holocron before someone else decides to use it. And there's no guarantee that it's in the possession of Master Orr's Padawan.
I don't like that she's out there, alone. Finding her should be our highest priority.
I like this plan.
Any major decisions can be made once we actually locate Saha Kadeen or the holocron.
Fair enough. This has all been a lot. I think I'll go meditate for a while.
While we're on the subject of locating Darth Null's relics, I believe Arkan has an update on the investigation you tasked him with.
The search has been difficult. This world is even more unusual than Santa Ray could have prepared me for. But I found something. There are ruins here abandoned long ago. What is left of the walls are covered in strange markings that I do not recognize. I tried to go further inside, but an overwhelming force energy keeps me from entering. Whoever left this place did not want it disturbed. Without a closer look, it will be impossible to learn anything about what Darth Null left here. I'm sorry. I feel as though I failed you.
We know more now than we did before you left. That's something.
If Arkan requires assistance, I am ready to offer it. I will go to these ruins and search them myself.
I would appreciate any support that can be spared, but the final decision is yours.
If you need help, then it's yours. Sana Ray will join you soon.
Thank you. I will prepare for her arrival, and we'll return to Odessa as soon as we know more. I will not fail you again.
That was everything on the agenda.
I appreciate all of your hard work, but there's still so much left to do. Let's get back to it.
I actually need to clear my head after that extremely mind-boggling revelation. Darth Brains. You know, that would actually be an improvement, Joludo. I don't know if Garland counts, Evo, since he was a violent mage. And he was an antagonist, although he wasn't a villain.
Admiral Ago's doing the best he can, with our limited resources.
Yeah, Ego did retire. I think they just didn't update it. You know, I could have just gone to my ship game.
Jate, you answered.
Shay, it's been a while since we spoke like this.
That it has. Been a long hunt, but I found the vermin's nest. It's on an old dirtball of a planet called Runic. Looks like the traitor got a lot more spineless parasites to rally around her than I planned for.
Yeah. Kinda called that.
I know my limits. I can't take her down alone. Too many fools standing between her and me. But if you help me cut through the trash, I'll make her face me. We can end this once and for all. It's time for Hedda Cole to pay.
For all those terrible crimes she did in that one episode. And that is it. Well, it's anticlimactic because we stopped effectively in mid-patch. So that's kind of the catch there. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Well, that's a trip. I really hope they're doing what I want them to do and keeping things kind of low tier and recovery, as opposed to building up for a new mega Death Doom villain. Because I'm sick to death of mega Death Doom villains. To my knowledge, we don't even have a release date for the next content update after this, so that's just kind of who knows when it comes to that. But I do like what they're doing with Malgus. I like what they're doing with the general theme of children. Like, obviously, we've seen two sides of that. And, of course, the name of the thing is the Legacy of the Sith. I admit I'm even interested in seeing where this is going to go. They're gutting specs. That's interesting. Why? Like, they already kind of got rid of talents a long time ago at this point. Somehow, Tenebrae has returned. Here, hang on. I'm going to go to Fleet. Yeah, no, we already have the precedent set. Any future content... Oh, stretch my back out. Any future content will be logged under patch content, right? Like Patchwalker or main quest stuff or the Terran Gambit arc at STO or whatever. Where is my ship? Oh my god, I stand by it. I've got video evidence of it. I have promised to give 4 negatives if they bring Tenebrae back again. Jesus, psychotic. Are they doing anything with that smuggler heal spec, which is actually pretty awesome? Because I wouldn't be surprised if they are. Alright. I'm gonna start tabulating. Let's do that. Let's tabulate. No, Caspian. I'm not in that much of a rush. So... oh, that's funny. So, I know that the expansion isn't done yet. Hutt Cartel was 12 hours. Revan was 11 hours. Kotfi was 19 hours. Katit was 16 hours. Onslaught was 10 hours. Legacy of the Sith was 4 hours. That's just... Yeah, let's do some math. Shall we? Yeah, get in your guess right now. Yeah, no ruminations. That's not happening. I'm not insane. Alright, let's go find a place where we can get some lighting going on. Which I believe is going to be over here. Yeah, the drip feed of content's never exactly been good. Where's a good place to... What's a good background? What's a place that looks cool? Can I go to Coruscant? Of course I can't. Yeah, Manan looks kind of cool. So does Hoth. Same thing in both cases. There's Manan? There we go. Don't worry, Ross. Don't worry. Everything's fine. It's fine. Okay, so 11. There we go. 0. 40. I know, right? I know it's the no bones thing. Get a nice here. Let me get you a nice fashion show here. No, don't. There we go. It's gonna take me a minute. I'd say final thoughts, but if I'm being completely honest, I think you know my final thoughts. I still consider this game sushi. I know. That's strange, but remember, sushi has nothing to do with the quality of the game, only how much it fits with me, and to this day, I can firmly say there is no Star Wars game that just fits with me, story-wise, as well as Tor does. It's... God, it's such a flawed game. It is such a flawed game. It has so many problems. In fact, I'm going to be surprised if it's a net positive golden number, to be completely blunt. But it is an interesting and fascinating look at many different aspects of the galaxy, the Force, the tech, some great characters. That's pretty much BioWare's, you know, main shtick is characters. Someone could look up STO right now. Could you do that for me, please? Because I'd also like to know FF14's golden number. Because those are the MMOs we've covered so far. Yeah, gameplay-wise, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by whatever score that ends up being. So, Star Trek Online got a 91.62, which is very low for an MMO. Final Fantasy XIV got a 437.35 for a bit of comparison. I'm nowhere near revealing the golden number for this. I'm still doing math, so forgive me. But that's kind of our range there, if you want to guess. Those are the two MMOs we've covered so far. I can't wait for WoW to outscore FF14 purely on the gameplay axis, and then people to hate me for it. I will say I'm probably never going to replay Tor again. You know what I mean? Because I love Sith Warrior and I love Agent, but I've done them many times. I have replayed those story arcs many, many times. Let's do this. Well, yeah, I'll play new stuff. I'm not going to put the game down and never go back to it. Like I said, I'm kind of curious where they're going with it, and I'm interested to know the direction and what they're doing with Malgus, what they're doing with Sahir, etc., etc. Oof. And I would say, so this is going to sound strange. I think the Agent storyline is the best written, the best designed, the best constructed. But I also think Sith Warrior is still my personal favorite. You know what I mean? So let's get some gross numbers here. 506 pluses to story. 202 negatives to story. $105 pluses to gameplay. $309 negatives to gameplay. So there's our gross numbers right there. Let's plug this in. Let's see what we got. So, I thought I updated that, because Star Trek Online is 804 hours, whereas Final Fantasy XIV is 2,343 hours. I'm sorry this is taking a minute. I have a lot of numbers to add together, because I'm just kind of bundling everything together here. Let's turn up the music a bit. I bet you can't even hear it. Yeah, the intention is to start Mass Effect after the lunch break. I might take a bit of a longer lunch. I haven't decided yet, but that is the intention. Okay. Core gets 737.44 hours for reference. Okay. Net plus 294 to story. Moment of truth. Net negative 204 to gameplay. That's okay. That means it's a net positive. That means it's going to be a positive golden number. And I'm going to give you like 5 more seconds to put in your guess based on that right now. That's a hell of a variance. Good God. Story ratio of 70.47%, which is actually really good, all things considered. The net story is, plus 294. Gameplay is net negative 204. Story ratio is 70.47%, which is quite good. Gameplay ratio is 25.36%, which is terrible. But again, we all knew that. We all knew that walking in. I knew that years ago. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sorry, I have to do this last part manually because MMOs require a different variance calculation. So give me one moment, please. Top 3 moments from this run? Oh, that's a good question. The finale in Khatit was amazing. Realizing that Khatit was good. And so, like, the beginning of Khatit, the finale of Khatit, and... I think this is going to sound like a strange one, but I'm going to pick the Kuat Drive Yards dungeon. Because there was just this weird moment when I realized it was actually a good dungeon, and I was very confused by that. Wait, 718. I believe. Yeah, it's an item that makes other people dance too. Okay, so real quick. Let's pull up the guessing game sheet here. Lock it down. Yeah, exactly, Oculus. It was good. I was impressed. I really was. All right. Sorry, one last second. I think I gotta pull one last thing here. All right. Is that what I thought it was? Can I get a drum roll, please? Ladies and gentlemen, Final Fantasy XIV got a 437.35 golden number. Which is going to beat this game. We all knew that. But the question I got over and over and over and over and over during both the STO and the Tor runs is which one is going to score higher. Star Trek Online got a 91.62, which is pretty bad in comparison. Tor gets an 81.03. And frankly, that actually tracks. I think Star Trek Online is a better MMO than Tor, if you take into account everything. Because that's how the review works. If you cherry pick, Tor crushes STO, right? Like, Tor Agent is a 227 by itself. So if you cherry pick, Tor is absolutely better. But if you count everything, all the Drek, all the Slog, all the bonus series, which we did, all of them, all the crap storylines, all the irritation, all the frustration, all the bad dungeons, and the bad crap, drags Tor down. STO has some drag, it does. Mostly the earlier stuff and the Takuvma arc. But STO doesn't have as much, just hanging it down. And what's funny is Tor doesn't have anything as bad as the Sister of Takuvma, which by itself was something like 30 negatives, I think, just by itself. Good God. Let's see who got closest. So 8103. Let's see. So Blade Traval guessed 79. A lot of 80 range here. It looks like Blade Traval wins. So I will put that over Stranger of Paradise. Oh my goodness. And if I could give one last final word, that score sounds about right to me. It's really low for an MMO. And it is. And that's the problem. Is because Tor has so much awesome stuff in it. And it does. And it is still a net positive, and I still enjoyed it. And I still enjoyed this experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed this extended 2-month stream we've been doing. It's just, it has so much crap in the same bag. And that is why that is an 81.03. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go just chill for a minute. I don't know if I'm gonna start at the usual time, but we are absolutely gonna be starting Mass Effect today. So I will see you on the other side.